It's raw. It's uncensored. It's live 24/7. It's chaoticradio.com.
You're cruising on a motorcycle through another dimension and time. A dimension not only of beer and rock and roll, but of twisted minds and sexy women. A wild journey of crazy imagination that has no boundaries. There's a warning, a sign up ahead. Your next stop. The Zig Zone. The Zig Zone. The Zig Zone.
All right, what the hell is up, everybody? It is a Manic Monday, and we are at the Zig Zone Biker Alley, the most awesome, segment of the month. I just have to say that.
Yeah, I agree.
Actually, the JJ.
Yeah.
My mic's a little warm.
I just turned it up.
Oh, you did? Okay, see.
Yeah, it sounded like it was a little distant. So I turned you up a little bit.
I think, but when it goes to the computer, I think it gets really super,
I like how 4 years later we're still working the mics out.
And Jordy's is definitely.
They keep getting new mics.
These mics are like really strong.
Mine's
Jordy,
always loud.
That's a different kind of mic too. That's like one of those expensive broadcast mics.
Yes. Now take Jordy.
You get the
His
cheap
is
one, Jordy.
definitely way too. No, he's got a
Yeah,
good
I'm
one.
way
so
too
He's
loud.
way warm.
What are you?
The one with the
Just keep
speaker.
talking. Keep talking.
On that one. That one.
How about this
maybe.
one? This one good?
Yeah. Yours
Check,
is
check,
good.
check.
Justin always had chips.
Just
Oh,
just,
effing mic.
just don't sit so close to the mic.
Yeah, okay. That works.
We hear enough of I hear enough of Jordy. To.
You love it.
Oh man.
Who else is going to egg you all on?
We are definitely good on the Facebook. So I'm setting this up for the YouTube live. So if you want to make a phone call, it is 909-323-2626. If you have any questions with our guest of honor, Adam Hersey.
Hi.
How you doing,
What
Adam?
up, Adam?
I'm having an awesome day.
Nice.
All right. So we do. Let me get these things poured in real quick. But JJ caught me off guard while I was sitting there pouring because we have to do our cheers to Justin
Does Justin get cheers every time?
Every
single
time. Yep.
That's a pretty good week to start off.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
You're in his old chair.
Exactly right.
Well, thank you. It's
Which is
still
fitting
warm.
for
Is
the
that
matching
weird?
for the matching beard. It's fitting.
All right, there you go. And there's a take one.
That's cool.
And there's it goes.
Well, I'll just keep one extra for myself.
I'll do two.
Okay, guys. So we're gonna do our obviously our cheers to Justin. So everybody put their hand as we do on the picture. All right, here. Cheers, Justin. We love you,
To Justin.
and we miss you.
Missed
To
you,
Justin.
Justin, nobody like you.
Very good.
Oh, that was ice cold. Yum.
Yeah, it's bloody hot out there.
It is.
It was 101.5. It was like screaming hot all the way here. It was like
Yeah, it just
100, 101, almost 102. I was like, wow, summer's here all at once in one day.
well,
Yeah.
actually,
And spring's
yesterday.
probably even worse, huh?
Yesterday, because I was in Lake Elsinore yesterday
Oh,
with,
I'm sorry.
with Diesel Dave,
Yikes.
and we only did the morning class, but I'm telling you right now, it was by the time it got to because we started class at 6:30, so by the time it was like 9 o'clock, it felt like I was already 100 degrees. I mean, literally, it was like hot. I mean,
I wish
it was
Tom would
coming
move to
down.
Wrightwood already.
I got so lucky
no,
this weekend. I was up teaching for Tom this weekend, and
Oh, in Atlanta?
it never hit 90.
Nice.
It was
Really?
Yeah, never hit 90.
Nice.
It was really nice. I mean, the wind was
Lucky
blowing a little
bastard.
bit, but
Well, that's part of it is the wind.
yeah, but it was. I would say it was probably 88, but I don't believe it ever hit 90.
Who'd you work with, or did you just do a six-person class?
Yeah, I just did a 6-man
Oh,
class.
nice.
Yeah, it was cool. So it was just me solo all weekend.
Nice.
All right,
Yeah.
so a quick hi. What's
Somebody
up?
tried to break in the container.
Oh, did they really?
Oh yeah, I took a grinder to it and unlock and
Fucking Adelanto, man.
yeah.
So,
old
anyways,
prison
Fast
town.
Eddie, what's up, Fast Eddie? And my buddy Mike Plapp and Dave Wagner, what's up, Dave? Vince Grieva, what's going on, brother Vinny?
What a Vince.
And let me see. Oh, Diesel Dave is in. And of course, my girl. Hi, Muffin.
Oh, that's cute.
Aw.
That's cute.
I love my Muffin.
At least you acknowledged her this time. Last time you said you weren't going to say anything.
Well, you know,
Knew shit about
you know what's funny? Another friend of mine, she works. She's secretary for one of the salvage yards. My buddy salvage yard, Neanderthal Cycle, and she did a post about
Neanderthal cycle.
She did a post, and she said,
syllables
"Oh, it's
missing
hot."
there.
And I says, "Oh, you know, it's." See, I forgot what I said.
It started off as a really good story, though.
Yeah, no,
was.
it sounded legit.
It had a lot of steam.
Yeah, Neanderthal
That
cycle.
dog is really shaggy, wasn't
Oh, I said it's not hot yet, but it's coming soon. And then I went ... and I said, oh, I said hot and coming. Oh, I just had an epiphany. And man, Otts goes like, what's an epiphany? I think she thought I might have been jerking off or something. I don't know.
I don't know, but it's in the cup right now.
Oh man! But to kick us off, we did. Oh man, excuse me, I just farted. That was a long one too. The last weekend before last, me, Chris, Christy, my brother Vince, Marty, Tony, and Susan went to, and Allie and Dave.
And Allie.
Allison,
Oh, nice. Very
Allison,
cool.
Dave,
Allison, Dave.
Woods
Nice.
from SoCal Motorcycle Training. Also, we went to Chuckwell and had a good weekend. You been to Chuckwell, Adam?
Yes.
Isn't
I
it-
love Chuckwalla.
Now, clockwise or counterclockwise or both?
Both.
Really? Which way do you like best?
I like making left-hand turns. I can't decide if it's clockwise or counterclockwise because every try I try and say it.
Counterclockwise?
That would
Yeah,
be-
whatever
yeah.
left turns are. I like
Yes.
That would be counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to high five.
Oh,
me.
well, we'll high five anyway.
Are we
He had
gonna
his
do
hand
it?
there, and I went like this, and he looked away from me like, oh.
Do we got to do it like the Rangers?
Psych.
All right, now everybody raise your right hand.
I've only done it clockwise.
Uh-huh.
And then we were on Saturday. Now, Sundays, they do counterclockwise because they have it for the weekend. When I went there to, because my buddy Vince, we left his trailer there. We left, we had to hook up in the morning. And so then they were doing counterclockwise. And I was like watching them, like going, holy shit, it looks like it's a lot faster counterclockwise. But Chris said his lap time, he has a quicker lap time clockwise than counterclockwise.
Yeah.
But it looks a lot faster to me. Is it
Yeah.
just me?
It depends on the person. You know, I mean, everybody's different. You know, and but it is primarily lefts going counterclockwise and rights going clockwise. So, I used to suck at my rights. You know, until my buddy Adam here helped fix my shit. So
No way. I don't believe for a second you sucked at right-hand turns, Chris.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I was faster going right than I was left.
It's good.
So
I used to love rights. Now I like lefts. I don't know why.
Well, you know,
I'm pretty comfortable both ways now. So
It's
you
good
know,
to switch it.
Yeah,
that's right.
I mean, Chris goes both ways. We know
I
that
do,
about him.
Yeah.
I had my headset off. What was Chris talking about? He sucked? What? Something. I
He
didn't
sucked both ways, is what I heard.
So I just
Any
wanna
way you
know,
feed it to me, big guy.
If all you ever grew up with was digital clocks, how'd you know which way is clockwise?
Oh, that's a good point.
I didn't grow up with digital clocks. I'm 52.
I know.
So, no, it was, I grew up
For-
with a
Just
dial
an observation.
I don't think anybody in this room grew up with digital
For the
clocks.
millennials that grew up with digital.
Oh, truth. Really going, what is clockwise?
clockwise?
Wait, clockwise? Isn't that when the digits change numbers?
I just ate too many crayons, so I can't
This,
figure it out.
this track does not look like a number 6. But one thing I definitely had to say was Christy. I had an off weekend, and I can tell you why I had an off weekend. But Christy was killing it, dude. Christy is a really, really good rider. I mean, so when we went back to the cabin Saturday night.
Those cabins are nice. Were they all right side up this time?
Oh, shit.
talking about the windstorm blew them all over.
Really?
It happens. It's real.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit! I did not know that.
Yeah,
those
the scariest thing is when you see an easy up going across the front and
Yeah.
then the back straight. You see it twice. Yeah, that's terrible.
Oh shit.
Well, I actually have video of we had a couple of little tornado,
devils.
little dust devils going on, and I wasn't sure if it was a bike at first. You're coming around the corner, and you just see the dirt, and I'm like, okay, someone else went off, and then
Someone's
all of
having
a
a
sudden,
bad experience.
I'm like, and I'm going into coming out of turn 3, going into turn 4, and all of a sudden I see this dust devil, and it's coming towards turn 4, and I'm like, going, oh, I need to beat it to turn 4. I don't want to get mixed up in that little thing, dude.
And then you meet it at 6.
Right. But hats off to Christy, because I was sitting there with Vince, towards the end of the day, and I says, you know what, dude, because there was a lot of plastic at the other people are around us. And I'm going, yeah, they got a lot of plastic. We got the badass bitches in ours, so Christy and
My wife,
Susie
she's no joke, man. She can ride. I'm proud of her. She's, she had her setbacks, from having her heart attack, and she broke her ankle. So ankle first, and then had her heart attack, and so that set her back a lot. But now she's come back, and it's been 2 years since she had her heart attack. So
Very good.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's
So
huge.
she's and then she crashed on her R6 and broke her scapula. So she's had
Jesus.
3 major setbacks, in the last 4 years. So, but now she's coming back stronger than ever. So
Yeah, you couldn't really tell because she did. We went back to the cabin. Me and Vince were watching the video. Last time I did my fastest lap time was 2:20, and which is decent. I'm not.
That's good.
I don't want to be I've always said I don't want to be the fastest guy. I want to be the guy with the biggest smile.
That should always be the goal.
Right?
Of
Right.
motorcycling. Yeah.
Right.
right.
But we were. She had passed me, and then once I was trying to figure out where she was, and when she crossed the start finish line, I was just coming out of turn 17, so I hit the deal, and then by the time I came back around, I kind of figured, because you could see when I'm coming, I already came out at 9. I was coming in almost in the bowl. I could see her because she's got Christie's. You can see the back of her leathers.
Yeah, Chrissy's community.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I'm going, that's
Light
definitely
blue.
10 seconds ahead of me. So that was, I did a 2:25 at time, so she did a 2:15. She wanted to do a 2:10. She goes, my goal is to do a 2:10.
Nice.
So I know she did a 2:15.
That's quicker than most of the amateur racers out
Yeah.
there do sometimes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that happens.
So she was getting it. But I have to admit, though, she was twerking. She came out of turn 17, and she hit the candy cane, man. She was right in front of me. I was maybe 8 feet behind her, man, and she hit that candy cane, man. And I'm like, whoa. But then, she saved it. She just kept
did.
on the gas, dude.
kept on the
She
gas.
wiggled it, brought the front tire came up just a little bit, dropped it down, and she was like, I'm like, oh, yeah, she's gone. But my buddy Mike, and we have it on video. My buddy Mike Flamer was going into. I have to change the name. I just screwed up. So my buddy Flamer came out where he passes me after I came out of turn 3. He starts going for turn 4, and then I come out wide. Right, this guy comes zipping by us, and as he starts to dip into the inside of Mike, hits him, dude. Literally nails him. Bad enough to where Mike 3 days later sent me a picture, and he's got a
He's got
bruise
a
right
nasty
here.
bruise.
Yeah.
Nasty bruise.
He clipped him hard, and it freaked me out, dude.
That's pretty unsad.
Right.
Wow, what's
That
it?
should
Is a
not
guy
happen.
from motocross or something? On dirt that's what we do, but the guy forgot to tell him we're on the street,
Dude,
or on the asphalt.
It was all bad, and just the whole passing thing. Because here's the deal: when you go to, I'm not going to mention the company that has the track day. 'Cause I don't want to blast them, but it was one of their instructors. But there was a bunch of other guys that were out there, and we're in level 2. So there's 3 levels. There's level 1, there's level 2, and there's level 3. Level 3 is like most of the sponsored race guys, and they're out there and they're really just getting their practice time in. These guys, in level 2, you're supposed to have you can pass inside or outside, but you have to have a 4-foot buffer. Level 1, it's only on the outside. It's a 6-foot buffer. If you're level 3,
No holds barred.
No holds barred.
Make sure your bike's the same color after the pass.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
But
think we can
these
both get
guys
it right
were
there.
doing level 3 passes, and after this guy hit this guy,
Yeah.
dude, and then after that, these guys were like doing some really nasty. I'm like going, you know what?
Wait, one of the instructors
just-
of the track days hit somebody?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
And it kind of took the wind out of my sails. So I was just kind of like, every single time, you can hear them coming up. And I'm just like going, you know what? I'm just going to back off the throttle and brake a little early. Let them go.
Yeah, let them crash.
Well,
Yeah.
when you've seen him use that kind of bad judgment, it's like the exact opposite of what a control rider should
Exactly.
Exactly.
be. Like,
Oh,
Right.
shit, the control.
it's like not controlled when you
Yeah.
ride into someone, right?
Has anybody seen the
That's
video?
It's
Real
E-
aggressive
I watched
braking.
it.
Has anybody seen the video of the one at Button Willow where the control rider actually comes in and clips the rider and they both go down and crash pretty bad?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't mention the track day company, but it's on Facebook. It's everywhere. It's on YouTube. You know, if you, I'll tell you later. In private,
See, that's
I
the
don't wanna
thing,
trash anybody.
Did everyone have one of these shirts on that day? It was like,
Well, I think they did. I think they did a pretty good job of trashing themselves when they pulled that kind of bad move when they're supposed to be a freaking lead rider
Right.
or a control rider.
Right.
well, I'd been like kicking the guy. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's you, Mike. We're not all as skilled as you, buddy.
Well, no, it's like that's what you do in motocross. You're kind of like slamming each
Oh.
other, especially in the corners. You try to take them high, so it's all
Yeah.
running into each other. So you just kick the side of the bike.
Yeah, that's dirt bikes, not street bikes.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe some of these guys came from dirt. And
Maybe.
Yeah, but
They were
there's a
getting a little
difference
carried
between
away.
going to like a friendly track day versus
Yeah.
trying to get that number 1 plate. Like you got to have a little bit
Yeah.
of good perspective
Yeah.
in your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not racing. We're out
Yeah.
there just having fun. We're supposed to be out here enjoying ourselves.
It should be fun. It's not
That-
fun when you're. Yeah, that hurts.
That would be like us going from PDW, just playing with each other and competing with each other to go try to teach students and then try to be number 1 with the students. It's like you
Let's
don't do
stuff
that.
them on
You
site
don't-
on the
yeah,
demo.
You don't do that.
I'm gonna pull that mic away from Jordy's. Jordy's got.
I got a really loud voice.
Rumble.
that's a new mic,
But-
though, right?
It's all right. I turned this down a little bit.
So I didn't want to put you on blast. Not like Mike's been doing.
Mike's been over here
But
sucking the mic.
but one of the things is like I started taking my sons to the track when I seen that they're when we started going up into Andrews Crest and Big Bear and all that stuff, and they started like I told my boys, look, when you're on the street, you ride about 60%. When you're on the track, you ride 100%. Well, they want to ride 100% all the time.
Yep.
And then in one day they both went down at Andrews Crest. I mean, they didn't get hurt. Were able to ride home, but they both seen how that worked,
Learning occurred.
right?
Learning experience.
So now it's they hardly ever ride the street. Actually, Dylan traded his Gixxer for a VT 1100. So all he does is commute that to work, or if you go for a ride on the weekend. Other than that, they don't want to ride on the street anymore. They just want to ride on the track.
It's because you've got way better safety infrastructure, and there's
Exactly.
way less crazy variables out there. Like,
And so one of the things that I wanted to mention tonight was that people, it's I find it hard because at my shop, when you come into my shop, the first thing you see when you walk in is just a bunch of pictures, of all of us, riding on the track. And I try to get some of my customers like, hey, because I know who they are. I know they're the guys that are out there, going in the canyons, like, and they're like, oh yeah, look, man,
You can see it their bikes.
yeah, and it's like, hey, why don't you come to the track with us? Oh, their thinking is like, oh, well, now they're going to be under pressure. They have to ride even faster than they have to, and it's even more dangerous. And I try to explain to them, no, actually, you're actually much safer.
Much safer.
yeah.
Because you don't have to ride as fast as you can. You know what I mean? And there's not squirrels and monkeys and
Deer jumping
cars
over your
and
head.
deer and what
Yeah,
have you.
You
know,
get constant variables with a track, and then you're the biggest thing that changes. So
Yep.
it provides you a place to really do some good, honest self-evaluation and figure out where you're deficient.
exactly. And it's the same curves over and over again. So if you struggle in one, you can actually keep on working on it.
Huge. Like, think about consistency on public roads. Like,
Huh.
our goal is to be accurate 10 out of 10
10
times.
seems
Yeah.
Because if you go through a turn 9 times flawlessly, and then you jack up that last turn,
That could
and then
be
you go
bad.
2 feet into opposing traffic, it doesn't matter if you did the other 9 times turn. Great.
Yep.
You know, that one time, that's potentially the last mistake you're ever going to make.
Yep.
So when you go to a track, you get to work on that consistency because you see the same turns time after time after time after time versus, oh yeah, I saw that turn one time in a 60-mile ride and I messed it up. I guess I'll see it next month.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, okay, so anyways, Chris, you know, I mean, if you're ever gonna have a mishap, you know, the track is the one place to do it. So go ahead and tell us.
Story time with Chris.
Well, I'm going to start out by saying it was purely rider error. You know, it was turn 9 at Chuckwalla. We were going clockwise, and I'd been working with Christy, and you know, working on body positioning and corner and stuff like that, and then we got caught up in traffic after we exited the bowl. And so I went down straight away, and she was nowhere to be seen. And I went, okay, I'm just gonna get on it and just go. Well,
which at this point he passes me, but he's only about he passes me and 2 other riders. So now there's 2 riders between me and him, and there's only about maybe 100 feet between us.
Did you have popcorn for that front row seat?
I had a front row seat for everything that weekend, dude.
So keep in mind, just in that day there was 9 crashes in that turn. I was one of them.
Crash corner.
Crash corner. They do call it crash hill, right? So anyhow, I just came in hot. I mean, trail braking, you know, straight line trail braking, and just as I started to come back over and started getting off the trail brake, and I just got back on the throttle too soon before I crested the hill, and it lightened up the front end, and I felt it, and you know, I'm thinking, I'm going to do the Marquez save.
Yeah, no. Go surf it.
Well, it didn't work out too well for me. So I went down and I'm sliding. I'm going, okay, this is cool. I'm going to quit sliding right now. I'm about done sliding.
Shit.
And then all of a sudden, I feel myself start tumbling.
Oh, no.
And tumbling. And as I'm tumbling, I'm seeing the bike flipping and flipping side over side. And I'm guessing...
Sky ground.
I'm guessing like 4 times, you know.
That's one of those things. It doesn't feel good to tumble, but then
And
to
so-
watch your bike tumble.
That's the worst. Like, knock me out. I want to wake up and see the damage. I don't want to watch that while I'm dealing with my own problem.
And as soon as I saw it flip side over side, I went, "Oh, it's not going to fare well." And you know, but I'm thinking I'm good, right? And then once I stopped tumbling, I'm on my belly, my arms are out in front of me, and I'm going. I couldn't breathe. You know, the air is knocked out of me.
You're trying to start yourself, yeah.
And I'm looking up at the corner workers in there, and I could see them on the radio. So I went down in 9, and I think, Zig, I almost ended up in 10. Right?
Almost, yeah.
I was almost down in 10 by the time I got done sliding and tumbling.
That's a long way not on a bike.
Yeah. Because I was asking Christy, I said, when you came by, where was I at? And she said, you were almost down in 10.
Damn.
And I went, oh, shit. You know, because I didn't feel like I slid or tumbled that far, you know?
It's like missed it by that much, you know?
I almost saved. I
almost
almost saved it. And I just felt the front end just go away.
So
and I was like, oh, man. And I'm like, okay, I'm sliding. This is not, you know, my bike's going to, you know, and then tumbling. And so I finally caught my breath, and I'm like, okay, I can move my fingers, my toes. And so I slid my hands up, and I got on my hands and knees, you know, in fetal position. And then I was like, okay, I'm good. And I stood up and gave the corner worker the thumbs up. And just then, I think Zig and Christy and Vince and everybody's coming by. And I'm like...
Did y'all hear the Sarah McLaughlin music in the background?
I was going to say, please tell me Christy kept riding her 215 lap.
She said that was the hardest thing for her to do was to pass me and not stop. And she said, but she's all, you were standing and you gave me the peace sign. And she said, I knew you were good, but I, you know, and so, but I was by the time the crash truck got there, I had already walked over to the bike and picked it up and put it on its kickstand and started picking up all my parts.
The kickstand was still there.
Further
the kickstand was still
hurting
there.
himself and not knowing the damage that was already done to his body.
Yeah. Meanwhile, ribs are broken.
And I knew I was hurt, you know, and I'm going, but I'm like, okay, I'm good, you know, and get in there, and I was fine. And Allison and Dave, it was funny, you know, when Sunday morning when I got up and was bringing coffee out to everybody. They're all, oh, you good? I'm like, yeah, look, I can still hold out my arms and stop the students and give them, can you give them the staging sign?
Oh,
and I'm like, yeah, no problem. You know, I said, it might be a little weak, but it's there. And Dave says, well, good, because you're on schedule for the next 2 days. And I went, no, I'm not. And he's all,
Surprise!
yes, you are. And I'll be damned. Yes.
Oh,
So
that
I was
sucks.
good though. I mean, I was hurt. But then Wednesday night, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm having a cocktail, and all of a sudden something just made me cough really hard, and I felt this pop, and it brought tears to my eyes, and I just laid back on the couch and I continued coughing, and after that, it was excruciating.
Is that when the rib broke?
I'm thinking that it
cough?
was. I think it either broke. I mean,
Or
I still
pushed
in
it
my
back in
fairly
place.
fractured, and then you coughed just
and
enough.
it cracked it, or broke it. So I don't know. I mean, but
You're making me hurt. Please stop.
Yeah, rib
It
breaks
was-
are the worst. That is, yeah. It doesn't matter what you do. Rib
Yeah,
breaks are.
buddy.
yeah. So I feel it here, here, and in back here in my back.
Is it pain in the butt to get out of bed?
Yeah. I just kind of roll out, and
Oh, I know that.
so I went and got X-rays. Went to our local urgent care. California's finest insurance, and I rant and raved on Facebook today about it. That was Wednesday night, Wednesday evening, 6:00. I got X-rays. They sent me over to Grove Diagnostic. They said, "Oh yeah, your doctor will have it in like 2 hours. We'll put a rush on it." What's today? Monday.
Yeah.
Grove Diagnostic still has not read my X-rays and sent them
Jesus.
to the doctors.
They
Holy
gotta
shit.
pay somebody to open up the email.
Right. Yeah. So, I'm like, what if this was my kid and a broken arm?
Yeah.
What would you guys have done? Well, we would give you the option to go to emergency room or something. And I went,
That's
"Are you
not what I'm
serious?"
paying for.
And so
Well,
I was livid, man.
Yeah, but what about if it's a slight break now, and then all of a sudden you got to puncture a lung and you die in your
Yeah.
sleep? Like,
Right.
you got to pay attention to that
And
crap.
that's what I asked him. I'm well, my bones could be crooked and healing already. I mean, in 5 days or 4 days.
Yeah, they're gonna have to
They're-
reset it. And
they're
that's
gonna-
that's a bad
Oh.
experience.
Can
Right.
you reset a rib when it's broken?
Yeah, they
Oh,
re-break
yeah.
it.
They re-break
They
it. It's a
re-break
broken
it.
bone.
Yeah.
But mom,
Here, just feed me one in my side.
All right, Marilyn.
Just take it out and make another Christie.
Right.
Mom Michelle said, "Hi, family. Hi, Mom."
Hi,
This is
Mom.
Justin's mom.
Hello.
So, how you doing, Mom? I know she was having a bad day. She had a post. She's like, going, anything that has dust on it, anything that's pissing me off is out
Out the door.
Out the door.
Out the door.
Hey, Mama, I leave my foot pegs up every day so Justin can come along if he wants.
Hell yeah.
We got
go.
your back.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, we got your back.
So I wanted. So we'll get. I had to get the track over, but Dave Wood said, "Where's he at?" He says, "Oh, there was a load of there's a load of sorry in his tailpipe too."
Ooh. Oh, shit.
Oh my God, that was too funny.
Okay.
I was so glad that day came out, man. It was just nice because that's one thing I like about the SoCal Motorcycle Training family is that, and actually, speaking of SoCal Motorcycle Training, they are one of the Zig Zone sponsors. And if you want to learn to ride a motorcycle, or you want to take any of the advanced courses, because Adam Herzing, I have taken all 3 with Adam at SoCal Motorcycle Training, and you can go into scmt411.com. And you can get yourself signed up, not only for if you're a new rider, get you signed up for the basic course, or if you're already a rider, get into the advanced courses with our brother Adam.
Yeah.
That is the IRC, the Intermediate Rider Clinic, the ARC 1 and ARC 2, which is Advanced Rider Clinic 1 and Advanced Rider Clinic 2. And so actually, speaking of the ARC 2,
Yes.
Justin was teaching a classroom. Now me, Dave Woods, Dan Parks,
good dude.
Diesel Dave, Jim Bridges,
Yep.
and there I guess it was one of your buddies, right? Or was it just a
I think it was somebody I'd taught before.
Okay.
but yeah.
So it was us taking the ARC 2. Now, each level has a maximum braking stop, which is great because, once you get past the beginner course, the basic course, now you are riding your own motorcycle. Now you get to feel what it's like to actually make a maximum braking stop, and that's one of the things that actually kills a lot, or not kills, but it does injure a lot of riders because they don't have the proper maximum braking skills. So you ride your own bike, doesn't matter what it is. So we are doing the maximum braking stop in the ARC 2, and Adam is our instructor. And so we come down and we do the quick stop. We do our maximum braking stop. At this point, once we start, Justin's classroom is now taking a break. So now, when you're taking a break in the classroom, you're at the what it's called
The mezzanine.
The suites.
The suite.
Yeah,
Okay,
at the
so
baseball stadium.
yes, so now you're upstairs in the suite, and the students can look down on the range, and they can see what's going on. So now they see us doing a maximum breaking stop, and Justin's like going, "Yeah, we're gonna do a maximum breaking stop." That's what they're doing. They're just doing a little more advanced level. So Adam says, "Okay, Zig, that was a great stop. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to come on down, and I want you to get your rear tire about 3 to 4 inches off the ground."
3 to 4 inches. Right.
Okay, I got this. So I come down and I get it pretty much almost 12 o'clock.
It was high. It was real high. Like, it was up there.
And I go and I drop down, boom, and Adam's like, his face was classic. Here's his face. That was a good stop. And he says, okay. So now, Zig, maybe a little less braking, and come down and do that again. So I come down again, and I do about maybe 10 o'clock, right? 9 o'clock.
Perfect.
Right.
Mission
That's
accomplished.
because that's 3 or 4 inches.
Better.
So now the students are sitting up there, and now when I do it the second time, Justin said, "You know what? I felt people looking at me." And so he kind of looked to listen, and the students are looking at him, and then one of the students hey, coach, do we need to do that? Because they're up there just like going, no way. They think that we're doing the basic course.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
that's
they
maybe a
were-
lot the first day.
Right?
Yeah.
They
Oh,
were
dude,
just
so
like
many
going,
IRs.
and Justin's like, no, this is the third level. Don't worry about that. That's one of the instructors. Don't worry about him.
That's good.
Don't pay attention to him.
It's a double-edged sword when you're doing advanced training next to basic.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really encouraging, and then
Right.
other times it's way too intimidating.
So I come down and do my second one, and Adam goes, that was a good stop. You're done. Go ahead. But it's the advanced courses. Because we have it on the chart, and when in the reduction in motorcycle accidents fatalities is 37 to
61%.
61%.
Nice.
Huge numbers.
Yeah.
Huge numbers.
And the encouragement to try to get people in there. So you still teach the basic course,
Yep.
right? So now when you're ending the classroom, they're ending the range 2, and you're saying goodbye. Now you want to talk about the advanced courses. What do you do to try and encourage the riders to come and take the advanced courses with you? I don't teach advanced courses, but you do. And how do you?
So a lot of times it's kind of almost like a little bit of a safety sales pitch, right? So I say, all right, essentially you finish your basic training, but unfortunately it's kind of like putting a really big hammer in your toolbox. And when you have a really big hammer in your toolbox, what do all your problems start looking like?
Yeah.
And they're like, little nails. And I was like, well, that's a downside because if you go on public roads, you got a lot of screw-shaped problems. You got a lot of other problems that a hammer really doesn't work all that well for. If you use enough force, you get a lot of good things done with a hammer.
Huh.
But if you put more specific tools in your toolbox, would you agree that when you're doing mechanic work, having the right tool for the job makes all of the difference in the world? And they go, oh, yeah, man. And if you think back to it, if you're trying to do a mechanic job and you don't have the right tool for the job, you spend your whole time trying to, wing it and fix things on the fly, and it ends up being way more time, way more stress than it needs to
That's
be.
why he
Strip
touches
the
my
heads of
bike and
bolts
I
out.
don't anymore.
Yeah, but the more classes you take, the more specific your toolbox gets. The more refined your responses get to be in bad situations. So then instead of using the same approach to everything, now you've got a really, really legit, like that Mac tool set or the Snap-on set that we all idolized when we'd see the truck drive by. It's like you can get that if you're willing to put that much time and energy into it. Or if you're happy with the hammer, man, use a hammer. It's America, free country.
I own a motorcycle shop. I rent bikes for a living, and I never thought about that.
That is
See
an
that?
awesome analogy.
This is
God,
one
that
of the
is
this
awesome.
is one of the many things that we get because Dave Bianco was QA did a QA with me and Diesel Dave yesterday,
Oh, nice.
and it's just the little tidbits that
Yeah.
the constructive criticism to make you better, make sure that it's more understanding to the students, and it gets the point across, and that right there.
Yeah, somebody said this with
Sold.
education to me, and they were like, all education is trying to equate things that we do understand to things that we don't understand. So the better we get about learning how to make comparisons that work for other people, then we can be more effective with the way that we're getting the message across. But
Well,
yeah,
especially when you can break it down that simple to where everybody can understand it.
yeah. I mean, we've all been in that situation before where you're trying to do a job on something like a car, bike, something, and you get halfway through and you realize you don't have the right tool for the job. And then there's that first 15 minutes where you're like, should I try and make it work? How far is Harbor Freight? You know, and you're trying to do all the logistics in your head. And it's like, you know what? If you did your due diligence the first time and you knew you had all the right tools, imagine how much more peaceful you'd be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and American Mike's a good example because American Mike was actually in my class years ago, and this was still when it was the MSF. Am I correct? But American Mike has came back and taken. He did the IRC and also the slow ride, and so and your level of the tool in your toolbox. You have added more tools in your toolbox, right?
Yeah.
I think you've become a better rider.
You would know.
Yeah, that's true. Because when we go riding, I always I'll do this. I'll I'll wave, Mike, or if there's anybody else riding with us, I'll wave them by, and then I can give them some little criticism or critiquing when we get to we're eating lunch or something like that. And the last time me and Mike we went to Rocky's Roadhouse, and I'm like, wow, Mike, very impressive. Body position's really, and he rides a Victory cross country, just like Justin. So, because you were riding a VT 1100 prior to that,
First one.
that's a big difference in the motorcycle.
Yeah.
From the from the VT to the Victory, that's a big bike. Which at the same time now, let's go back to Justin because you guys went to Paris.
Yeah. Yeah. Out at Apex.
And you took one of the things that I like when I took the IRC, you did a segment in classroom and I forget what segment it was, but you were explaining, how the bike, what you put into the bike. Well, let's say your tools. I'm just going to use that because it's IRC was I did 4 years ago, but doing the when you take this tool and you fix them and it works, the bike's gonna accept that. So when you do this, it's gonna work. And then you took Justin's Victory, and now Justin was a newer instructor now at this point. He had just started teaching.
Yeah.
And you took his bike and with his brother Dakota,
I remember.
and he got the picture which I used on my post. And Adam's on that thing, just dragging me. But the case saver, or engine saver, case guard, engine guard, whatever you want to call it, is still at least 1.5 inches off the ground, and he's got his leg just flat on the pavement.
It was more like dragging shin at that point.
Exactly. So what I use that once in a while. I'll get a student. And so when we talk about when we're in classroom 2, and we're doing the very first segment 6, corner with confidence, and now because we don't work on position in range 1,
Right.
it's only speed, aim, and turn. Now we're going to add in the position. So I sit on a chair, and I get into the position.
The Cherasaki is always a good teaching aid.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And then I always get this, you got the guys that have, the Victory baggers or the Harley baggers.
Yeah.
And well, why would I ever use that? I'm like,
it makes the biggest difference.
Right.
Yeah, it does.
and I'm like going, okay, I'm glad you asked that question. That's great because I have the picture of you and I have the picture of Justin.
That's so cool.
in my phone. So I say, okay, check it out. So I have pictures of me on the track. All right, so now. It's a sport bike, right? So you think I'm pretty comfortable doing this? Yeah. Okay, now watch this. And I go to Justin's picture, right? And I say, okay, now this is another instructor. And now look what he's on, a Victory cross country. And they're like,
Ooh, that's a big bike. Ooh.
right? So now they get a little bit more, like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Now I got their attention. Then I go, now watch this. And I pull up the picture of Adam. I said, now this is the same bike and the same turn with one of my peer instructors. And I showed them that, and they're like going,
Yeah, they never
What?
believe
What
it.
is this?
What the? And I'm going to see. I says, look. Now, when I ride my Harley, believe it or not, I actually use more body position when I ride my Harley wide glide than I do when I ride my sport bike. Because the one thing is the hard parts are closer to the ground. The more body position I have, the less my bike has to lean. So think about this. And then all of a sudden the light bulb comes on, and when we do range 2,
Everybody.
they're just like, wow, this is really cool. And I said, now think about this. You're going to be with all your buddies on the Harleys, and they're just going to be want to be all straight armed and just chop it out or what have you. And here you are, arms bent, getting that body position in, and then you're going to be going up to Big Bear, and you get about maybe 3 miles of turns in. All of a sudden, you're looking in the room like, wow, where's all my buddies?
Where did my friends go?
Well, that was the biggest thing for me in the IRC. A huge difference.
I think the best thing about that is how much easier it makes it to get the bike to turn. Picking up more ground clearance is cool, but if you're riding at safe speeds on the street, you don't really need that much ground clearance anyway.
Right.
So it's a good deliverable, but what to me I think makes the biggest difference is like for the cruisers especially. If I'm doing like a 1,000-mile road trip, if I can make every single turn take way less caloric energy, way less effort, then I'm going to be less fatigued. The less fatigued I am, the more precise I can be. So even if you're not in it because you're like, oh yeah, man, I gotta try and look all cool going through the turns. It's like whatever, man. But do you want to make your life a little bit easier?
Yeah.
You want to have a little bit more energy 9 o'clock at night after you've been riding 800 miles. Like imagine if you made every single turn 60% less effort. You think you'd see a difference in how much energy you had at the end of your rides?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you start off with 8 inches of clearance on like a sport bike, big deal. Great. You got 10 inches. But when you're on a bike that starts off with 3 or 4, you pick up the ground clearance, but then you make it so much easier to turn. Like, what a double whammy! Like, that's cool.
Exactly. And
it works out great. So I worked last Saturday. I worked at Learn to Ride VC up in Somas. And there's a lot of guys on Harleys in the class. So I was telling them a story that I went to Glendale Harley. They let me ride a brand new ultra limited demo. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go see how this thing rides. So Glendale up to ACH to Newcombs isn't that far. But I want to see how this thing handles. So I rode it the way we teach it. All right. And spirited, going up, maintaining the speed limit, but you can still get around the corners decent. So off the bike, probably the funniest thing ever was other riders coming down. The look on their face were really puzzled. They're like,
They're wearing full face helmets, and you could tell their face is just like, what the?
yeah, that
see the
kind of they
little
don't
head
they
tilt.
don't know the wave. They're not really sure.
They're like,
And I was just, I'm over in the mirror so I can see back, and they're kind of like not really sure what they just saw. They're like, we just saw a guy with high vis on a black Harley giant machine, like off the side of the bike. So it was like, if you just ride it the way we teach, it does maintain the ground clearance. It was an awesome machine. I was really impressed with a 1,000-pound machine, how well it went up the hill. So I went to Newcombs, came back down the hill. I think I touched a hard part. I think it was actually the kickstand one time, just a little scrape.
like an off camber or
But
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, if you ride it the way we teach it in total control, you maintain that ground clearance and you can get around the corners. So it works perfect.
Being to continue the tools in the toolbox, we as instructors are required to take a personal development, a learning development to keep ourselves certified. And I love one of the things that I use is I tell the students, like, look, I'm a student at least twice a year. And I just love it. And I said, if they go over like 100 things and I take one thing with me, did I learn something? Yeah, you know what I mean? So the learning process is just really intense. So now let's go through the like the IRC. You have different ones. Like one is that I was really impressed with was the throttle control.
Yeah.
Somebody saying Facebook.
So explain the throttle control one.
All right, so throttle control is kind of the foundation for everything we do on the bike. And a lot of times we're making the motorcycle respond more than it needs to what the road's doing. So a good example of this is if we're coming into a turn, and imagine there's a whole bunch of potholes and dips and bumps, and it's like kind of every California road we ever actually get to normally see. So when we're coming into the turn, the suspension has to deal with all that chaos no matter what.
Yep.
And then if we go into that turn and then we're abrupt with the way we roll on or off the throttle, now we've got all that weight transfer happening on the motorcycle at the same time. So now, in addition to all the stuff that no matter what's going to be there, it's got to deal with the knucklehead behind the handlebars, making its life more difficult. So if you're trying to make your bike as stable as possible, no matter what, it's going to have to deal with the road. But if we're good about how we use the throttle, we can keep the bike as stable as possible. So it's just trying to make your safety margin as wide as you can. We're not, it's impossible to eliminate all the risk on a motorcycle, but the more intentional we are about trying to take back any inch we can, we're going to be making safe progress out there, hopefully at least.
Yeah, and one of the throttle control exercise, I forget what if that's the title of it.
Yeah,
but you were to take off and then roll the throttle. It'll just keep on doing its own thing. It's the Mevo. Really? It goes and it stops and it goes and it stops. Hey, JJ.
Yeah.
You got the Mevo thing, dude.
It seems to be working here.
Okay, as long as we're working there, we're okay.
Yep, I'm checking the YouTube feed too.
Okay, very good. So yeah, we got JJ behind the what is it called?
At the helm.
Star Trek.
He's at the helm.
The helm.
Oh, yeah.
The con? No, the con. That's right.
The con.
I thought you were going to make a porn reference. I was thinking of a JJ behind the glass. All right, let's go to Amsterdam.
But you are to roll the throttle
need a red
on,
light.
get up to speed, and then roll the throttle off without the suspension moving.
Right, that's the goal, is to try and see how little suspension movement you can get. Because anytime there's weight transfer, you're going to get suspension movement. So it's not like we're trying to eliminate it 100%, but we're trying to see how little we can make it. How much can we make the bike deal with just the road versus what we do on top of it.
And it's amazing how difficult that really is. When I was doing it, I'm like going, dang it. I did like 7 passes, and I didn't really get it to my last couple passes. And then, I was like, oh, yeah, there you go. I'm like, holy cow. It's just amazing how much throttle control. And that actually brought me back to where, when we teach, throttle timing and what have you.
Hello. Oh, hey, we got somebody calling in.
Yeah. I didn't know if that was just coming through my headphones.
You going to answer it?
It's in your head, bro.
Caller, you're on Chaotic Radio.
Hey, is this for JJ?
Yes.
It's Vince.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Hi, Vince.
Hi, Vince.
What up, V?
Hi. Hey, guys. Just wanted to let you know the YouTube working fine. The other one's not working so well.
Yeah, we've seen that, dude. So
yeah,
okay,
the Mevo cuts out a little.
Yeah, so the best way to do it, everybody, is to go on to YouTube and go on to Chaotic Radio, and then it'll say Chaotic Radio Live, and that way does not falter. We'll still keep the Mevo going, but yeah, Vince is definitely correct. It's a Mevo. So Vince, how you doing, brother?
I am doing really, really well. Just listening to everything you guys are talking about. It's really interesting. Hi to everybody that's there, especially my friend Adam.
Oh, hi, Vince.
Just the amazing guy. Whenever you get a chance, Adam, I want you to tell everybody what got you to where you are now.
Good question.
Good mentors. So you have to be willing to practice. Like that's kind of like the foundation. If you're not willing to put energy into getting better, then you're not going to see any progress. But then having friends around you that are willing to give you good, honest, constructive criticism, and then making sure it's good, accurate, constructive criticism, that's really what you need to improve. And that's one of the coolest things about formal classes is you get that professional observation. Like I can go in a parking lot and I can practice my heart out. But what I think I'm doing and what I'm actually doing are always going to be two completely different things. So for me, whenever I take classes, it's like I cannot wait to find out all the things I didn't realize I was making mistakes on. Because for most of us as motorcyclists, we don't try to make mistakes.
No.
Like when we're going down the roadway, we're not coming into a turn like, oh yeah, I'm gonna mess this up like a football bat. It's gonna be great. Yeah. Like we all have good intentions. Like I've got another friend that says it like this. Like nobody wakes up in the morning, gets out of bed, and says, "Who can I screw over today?" Like most people don't do that stuff. Yeah. We do our best.
My ex-wife does.
Really? That explains why she's an ex-wife. Right?
Shit.
But when you have friends that are willing to really give you that good observation and say, hey, I know you think you've got your elbow bent, but it's not as bent as you think it is. And then being able to tweak little things so you get that progress. But, I mean, so much of it has come from the mentorship from people who, are able to give that kind of accurate feedback, and then just trying to suck up as many classes as I can. Like, I think I'm close to about 30 different training evolutions I've gotten to take.
Nice.
Wow.
So, the more classes you can take, the more tools you put in your toolbox. And I had another buddy who said it like this, they were like, even if you take a class and the only thing you learn is that stuff didn't work for you, it's not going to be a tool you reach for in those bad situations. So, for me, it's how often can I get somebody who knows what they're doing watch me, because I can think I know what I'm doing, but until somebody else looks at it, I mean, man, like it's real easy to pat ourselves on the back, like
Right.
That's what I think the hardest thing is motorcycles is how do we find out an accurate inventory of skill? You know what I mean? Because motorcycling is such a dynamic sport and there's so many different tiers to it. It's like, on one hand, if you try and compare yourself to others, like I think that's a really good recipe to get discouraged nonstop. Like,
Right.
If I compare myself to Rossi, bro, I'm hanging up my keys. Yeah, there you go. Like I got no business being on a motorcycle at all. But if I compare myself to this asshole in the morning, like if I think about it all day long, like, can I be better than that dude at night? Can I look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what, I made progress today. Even if it was a little bit, I'll take that, man, because you can do that every single day, and I think that's what it's about. Look for the little things you can work on. Are you coming up to a stop sign? How long can you go without putting your feet down? Are you making a turn? How precise can you be with that line? Like, sure, it's a regular right-hand turn in an intersection, but you see a little bit of off-colored pavement. You're like, oh, I'm going to go from that dot to that dot on the other side, or I'm going to see how close I can get my tires to ride by this white line without touching it the entire time. Keeping your eyes off in the distance, even with the horizon, and then fighting that urge to get sucked in towards the ground. But I look for opportunities to grow and then be willing to invest the time and energy. Because if you're not willing to put in the time and energy, I mean, man, you can wish in one hand and something else in another, right?
When I'm doing demos, I do the same thing. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to try and do this perfectly today, and then, I mean, to the students, it looks perfect, right? But to me, I'm thinking to myself, oh, you fucked that up, Chris.
Actually trying to do the demo exactly by the cards.
Yeah.
That's what I really focus on. I'm looking at the speedometer and do it all spat exact by the speed. Oh, it's almost stressful.
Well, it's really challenging. The specificity with that stuff is super gnarly. Like, a lot of people look at MTC demos and like, oh, vanilla demos, whatever, easy days. Like, nah, fam.
That's not easy.
If you put the right amount of energy into that, like, it should feel like you're running A group pace trying to bust your lap times down, because you got to be relaxed, you got to be precise, and then, it's kind of like you have to be a good actor,
That's the word.
doing the instructor trainings. It's like if you get somebody up there who does like a soap opera, when you see like goofy soap opera acting and you watch it, you're like, oh, that's super Hollywood. That's not real crying.
Yeah.
I've seen real crying. It's not that. You can do that with your demos. You can make it look fake. But if you're intentional about trying to apply the techniques the way that they're supposed to be done, it's hard. It's real hard to do that stuff naturally the right way.
And the crazy thing about all the training and just picking up on things to make us better riders is really the small things.
Mm-hmm.
It's, if you think about it, just small adjustments make big changes, but it takes, like Adam said, it takes someone to see you ride, and then because how you think you ride and how you think you look is totally different than how you're looking and how you're riding.
Yeah.
So I know that when we were on the track, you fixed my foot position, which changed a lot about how my body position now can change on the bike on the track. So little things that I couldn't feel or see, and Adam's like, I'm gonna touch your foot. All right, go for it. And he's like, how's that feel? Oh wow, that was what a huge difference.
Yeah.
And then
To add to that,
yeah. Then when I
Adam,
Actually, Vince was at the because I was down the hill. I was at Streets of Willow with my sons, and you guys were up at the Horse Thief, and Vince was there. I'm pointing to the mic. Vince was there.
Vince, are you in there, Vince?
And you guys had the Total Control Track Clinic, and Vince was out there with his brand new R3. And
Such a cool bike, Vince.
And when I worked with Vince a couple weekends afterward, and Vince was just amazing how different it was. And now, mind you, Vince he was a longtime motor, and just to have some things that he learned changing after so many years of riding, right, Vince?
well, I'll tell you, one of the most useful tools that Adam brought to the fray, besides his great instruction, was he had this camera in his hand all the darn time. And I'd do an exercise, and I'd come around, and he'd say, all right, so how did you think you do? And you'd say, well, I thought I did this or that. And he'd look at the camera and he goes, so what do you see? Well, that's not exactly what I thought. It was just an eye-opener. You can't lie to a camera.
Yeah.
But that was just so insightful to see stuff like that. And again, I was just marveling at what a great tool that was. I kind of had turnabout's fair play because I remember when Adam came to the slow ride, I was behind him videotaping him.
Oh, yeah.
So,
you had plenty of ammo to
things are
roast me with, Vince.
Pardon me? No, Adam, I swear to gosh, I've seen a lot of riders in my time, really terrible riders and really fantastic riders. And when I look at the scale of riders when I get into TCT, I thought I had seen it all before getting into TCT. You know, I come from like 30-something odd years of professional training in one mode of riding, and you see something else and you go, holy crud, where was this all my life? It's just such an eye-opener, and it's very humbling to watch. You know, I'm out there riding to my heart's, content and really trying to put some good stuff in it. And I think I'm really doing okay, and I'm following Nick, and he's giving me a good line, and all of a sudden here comes Lee Parks with a passenger passing me on Adam's bike in turn 5. Holy God. It's just a humbling experience to look at something like that and say, here I am working in this guy, and Adam would go by me occasionally on his bike, and I'd look at him and I go, it looks so effortless as to what I feel like I'm doing. I felt like I was just working my you-know-what off. Yeah. And these guys are just zinging by me. It looked like clouds floating by. They're just really super smooth. And I said, that's where I got to be. That's what I want to do. So, yeah, the move to get that further education is there. I'm back into that learner's mind and just going to try to stay there for the rest of my riding career, because the more I stay in that mindset, the more I learn. And when I've got mentors like Adam, Zig, Mike, Chris, all you guys out there, and Lee and Nick, it's just incredible what you can do.
That's super humbling and encouraging, Vince. Thank you. Like, you've got more experience than I think we could all shake a stick at. So I think this speaks to the benefit of training for everybody, because if somebody like you who's got phenomenal technique, phenomenal skill set, and so much experience behind your belt can still take something away from taking any class, man, what are we doing with our time if we're not being willing to invest that kind of energy into it? So that's really encouraging, Vince. Thank you.
Exactly. Well, you know what?
You're most welcome.
Thanks for calling in, Vince, and I love you, brother. And
all right, I love you too, guys. We'll talk to you later, and
much
thanks
love.
for everything you
Peace
do, Adam.
Oh, thank you, man. We're part of the same team.
Yes, we are.
Adam,
talk to you later.
My wife says she wants you to touch her foot like you did.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
If you're okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Adam will ask permission first, so that's all good.
We live in the age of consent. It's cool.
Oh my God, that is too.
Sometimes
funny.
that.
Love you, babe.
Apparently, I love you too. So let's just roll with it.
Well, Vince also has the slow ride, and you took the slow ride.
Dude, that was one of the coolest class. That was the best slow ride class I've ever taken. I think it's the same name, but that's the best low speed class I've ever taken.
Yeah, because we've been talking about up to speed and what what you do when you're at speed, but there's not an exercise that's over 5 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I was teaching the basic on the range next to it, so I got to watch a lot of it, and it was pretty amazing watching it happen. And I really want to do it myself.
Dude, it's so good.
But
Let me know when.
it was funny because Dave, after I crashed, he says, "So, did anything happen to your exhaust?" I went, amazingly, no, it didn't. Vince said the same thing, and they're all, "Man, we were really hoping that you crushed that exhaust. So we didn't have to hear it anymore."
Your bike is so loud.
Shit.
So, speaking of the slow ride, so when I did the slow ride, I've done some slow ride experience or, slow motor skill stuff like I did one at Ventura. So I kind of was coming into it knowing, okay, I like the slow speed stuff, really tight stuff. And for whatever reason, talk about putting stress on yourself between Vince and Dave, watching me and critiquing me. I was getting so tight, and Dave kept saying, relax. And then Vince kept saying, relax. I'm trying. It's like,
It's a paradox. Have you ever tried to relax?
so I'm like, I'm trying, but it was really stressful. Finally, I was finally got in my groove and felt comfortable and was getting around on it. But it was like, I got to go take it again because the second time, then I'll know what to expect. So it's going to be much better the second time around. Then I can really work on, small stuff. But, like what Vince does, it's really simple, stupid. When he does his demos, you're just going like, that's just not right. I mean, it's so effortless.
Looks so easy.
Yeah, Vince is out there just kind of put like almost idle speed doing these turns.
1 millimeter for every rotation of the motors.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, wow, that's impressive. That's, when all the years of being a motor officer and spending, oodaless hours every day. I mean, most motors are spending 8 to 12 hours a day on their machines. I mean, that's a lot of ride time every single day and all the training in between all that. So to get all that feedback from someone like that is like huge.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff.
And because America, when I took the solo ride, you took the solo ride, and you took the solo ride. I have not taken the solo ride. But
What are you waiting for?
I know, but it's because I'm working.
It's
every
at your
weekend.
site.
I know it is. I know it is. But you know what I do? Because I see what he does. So what I do is I go over there if Chris is doing classroom, I get to the range early. So one of the things I do is we have to ride the bikes, every single bike. I ride them range 1 and range 2. I ride every single bike, and I do every single exercise that we have on both range 1 and range 2. But then I sneak over to Vince's area, and I see what he does. I see his exercise. He's done it plenty of times. So now I've got them all, down. But now I'm on this smaller bike. I want to ride it on my Harley. I think that would be my biggest challenge. My CPR easily done, but I think my Harley. I think I need to challenge myself. Because Fast Eddie has the Moto Jitsu.
That's a blast too.
And you and Dave Bianco are the only ones that have gotten to black belt so far.
Yeah. God. It was a lot of fun, man.
And the black belt is you have to have your knee on the ground, but you have to do it with 3 different bikes. 1 has to be yours, but 2 can't be yours, right? Is that what the thing is?
Yeah.
And they're totally different. So it has to be on a cruiser or sport bike and whatever.
Yeah, man.
Right?
And the goal is just any bike at any time, trying to prove kind of what we teach at Total Control too. They're kind of what all motorcycle curriculums teach. It's not about the bike. It's about the technique you put into the bike, because if you do the right technique, the bike's going to respond. It's going to do it. Like my bike didn't go wide until I showed up. It had no problems. But suddenly I appear and my bike has handling problems. It's crazy. Yeah.
Which is, and going back to what I'm talking about, when it's not a sport bike technique, it's a motorcycle technique. So it's everything is a motorcycle technique. Doesn't matter what you ride. Because you get the guys, like, especially on the bigger dressers, and then the baggers, like, all I want to do is, I just want to ride down the highway, and go to the next town. That's fine.
That's cool.
But eventually you're going to hit a mountain road, and is this going to come in handy? Yes, it is. We're not saying you have to get your knee in the ground or nothing like that. But if you did know how to do that, do you think that would come in handy at any time? What if you're going into a corner and you didn't realize it's a strange mountain road and it's a decreasing radius curve, and all of a sudden you really need to bank that bike over? Okay? So now, but you have like bags and all that stuff. Okay, well, geez, maybe a little more body position. If you knew that, then you can actually execute that turn, and the bike doesn't have to be dragging hard parts, which is going to lift the tires off the ground, and you're going to crash.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, that's one of the coolest things about riding motorcycles. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way to do it. There's just different ways. And if you want a certain response, then ride in a different way. Like, if you look at the way that a lot of, like, YCRS teaches their stuff, they're a little bit more locked arms, and they've got some reasons why they do that. We teach a little bit lower down. A couple other curriculums teach different things, too. It's just, there's a reason to use almost every technique on a motorcycle at some point for some reason. But if all you know is what you're used to, like what you kind of hammered in as kind of pattern, hey, all I do is commute 40 miles to and from work. I take the exact same road. That is my riding training. You're going to get used to those kind of habits.
Yeah.
So unless you're willing to kind of divert yourself out of what's comfortable, you're never going to grow. Like if you always stay in your comfort zone, when the hell do you get better?
Right. And after each exercise, like say straighten and break, maximum braking and quick stop, any of the corner exercises, and once we do get done doing the debrief, I says the debrief, I says, when can you practice that? I always add that in. When can you practice that? And I want to make sure that the students actually come back to me and say, every day, and where? Yeah, something like this. Yeah, exactly. Because we had Fast Eddie on the air. Was it last month ago, right? Last month or month prior? Two months ago.
And you want to talk about somebody making a good change in the motorcycling community? That's Greg
Right?
Whitmore right now. That is
yeah.
too cool.
Yeah, he's doing. He just it's so phenomenal videos that he does, and I love it. But he says one of the smartest things that he said when he was on there. He goes, "Okay, great. So I see guys, trying to drag me going up Palomar or on a track day or something like that. Well, why wouldn't you want to try to do that at 5 to 10 miles an hour,
Right.
or 10 to 15 miles an
I
hour?
love that quote.
Then trying it at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
I love the way he said that. Like, if you can't drag me at 20 miles an hour, why the hell would you try it at double that? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that was such a great way to talk about, like, risk versus reward. Like how much risk are we willing to take on as riders? And
Yeah.
there's risk every single day. And that's the cool thing about going to the track, like you were talking about earlier, is you get to take a lot of that risk.
Yeah.
And now, instead of it being like a semi you're going to go opposing traffic into, now you're going for a tumble through the dirt. Like, yeah, there's still risk, but man, that's a way better odds.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take an ambulance 30 seconds away compared to 25, 30 minutes, maybe getting life flighted out in the middle of the desert somewhere.
Exactly.
Right.
And hopefully they get to you in time.
Yeah.
And one of the really good things about the Total Control Track Clinic, which is done at Horse Thief Mile.
Yeah.
And now people, when I try to explain to the students at the end of that, because I go through the 3 advanced courses, and I said, hey, after you do these 3, it sets you up for the Total Control Track Clinic. And then they go, well, I don't want to go to the track. No. It's not a racetrack. I didn't say anything about racing.
Yeah.
I said it's a track clinic. It's actually on a track, and it's Horse Thief Mountain. Now, mind you, I use Streets of Willow. Right below Horse Thief Mile is Streets of Willow, and there's 15 turns, and it's 2.5 miles, roughly.
That's a pretty twisty, tight track.
It is.
Streets is fun.
Yeah, it is. And I says, but now you're going to take 15 turns, and you're going to take a mile and a half out of it. And not only that, you have uphill, downhill, on camera, off camera, decreasing radius, and blind curves. So what are you going to experience out in the real world? Everything. Exactly. And I says, and the thing is, when you go there, it's not about how fast you can go.
Yeah.
It is working on your technique, which is basically survival. You were the lead rider.
Yeah.
At the last PDW.
Yes.
For the PDW track session.
Yeah, they like the way I let them out and get, kind of pace lap, nice and slow, let everyone get tires scrubbed in, warmed up.
And what were you
before
riding?
My RT.
Well, explain the RT. I mean, there's people that are listening like don't understand what your bike is. There's a reason why I call him Freight Train.
It is a if anybody's seen law enforcement motorcycles, a BMW, it looks just like that, but it's a civilian version with bigger bags on it than they have. So it's an R1200 RT, so it's a 1200cc machine that it's sport tour, and it's somebody said it was great. I heard this. So it doesn't do. What was it? Oh, it was great about the RT. It doesn't do one thing exceptionally well, but it does everything good.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's a pretty good way to put it, because it does just about everything on a track, street, mountains, canyons, freeway, commuting, long distance. It's a cool machine. So
Was that Lee when he rode your bike? Was it Lee? that said that?
Lee rode my bike.
Well, I know he rode it
Adam
like a-
rode it.
Yeah, you're
And
the
then
reason why I have one of them son of bitches, right?
I sure do, because you passed me with a passenger on his bike, and then you bought one.
I did. The front end was too good. Man,
Isn't that fork something else?
It's phenomenal.
It's it's a Decepticon because it doesn't. The way it rides doesn't look that way. It's very, very stable and just intuitive. It's almost like you kind of just look and it goes.
Yeah, I mean the
You're all
18
like
handled so
salty
much.
back here, dude. You're so sweated out.
No,
He's
dude,
got a
hot
salt
today.
line around his.
Dude, that was just riding here, commuting because of all the freaking traffic. I was lane splitting about the whole time. And lane splitting, we get in a whole topic about, riding and lane splitting, not to go off subject, but it is a lot of work, just being on your A game to not have someone
Absolutely.
take you out. So it's a workout and it's mentally very stressful too. So that's why my shirt is all white from sweating to get here. It was like
Better
I
to
don't know.
show up sweaty than not at all.
That's right. Yeah, because you're not really getting through the air very fast, so there's not much cool down time.
Yeah, not a lot of airflow.
So and then people in cars, you shouldn't be lane splitting. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna ride my motorcycle and sit in all that traffic and get myself overheated, as well as my bike. So at least we can keep moving through it.
With all the studies we've seen from Berkeley and everywhere else, all the overseas studies, they show that lane splitting is safer than sitting in traffic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as long as you do it responsibly.
Absolutely.
You split like a yabo.
Yeah. No. No. Yeah. There's a few of those.
It never fails that I'll be, going at a safe speed at a good pace with traffic, and then all of a sudden I get somebody that I look in my mirror and 2 seconds ago they weren't there. I'm like, where the hell did you come from and why are you going so fast?
Dude, every time I see somebody like that, I just imagine like a fighter jet, and then you're dropping flares. So the dude can go by. They're your flares, man.
Exactly.
They can go as fast as they want, man. I'll let them take the tickets.
That and my worry is always, well, great, now I'm going to come up on that person under a car.
I've had that
That's
happen
normally
once.
what I worry about.
That's a real bad experience. That's where you
Yeah.
look at them and you give them the "I told you so" look, and they give you the "Yeah, please don't say it" nod.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I'll just back off to let them get further distance away from me. So
exactly.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna impel yourself into a vehicle, which you will,
I'm gonna see something I'm gonna need therapy for. I'm good.
Yeah.
because if you ride like that on a consistent basis, you won't be
Eventually.
riding like that for very long.
Yeah.
I have a saying about the riders like that, called one-hit wonders, because they hit a car one time and you never see them riding again.
Yeah.
And
then they talk about how dangerous motorcycles were.
Absolutely.
It's like, well, I was doing 95 in between cars. I had like 3 feet. I should have been fine. And
Yeah,
then
I mean-
the person was on their phone. Oh yeah, that's why.
he cut across a double yellow. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You mean
My favorite is the videos because I know Mike, and I've watched him split lanes. My favorite is the video that Mike posted where he's going, and then a car decides to cross, just not slowly cut over, just blatantly cut over, and you see the GoPro just go with the car, and then safely in the next couple lanes. I was like, now that's where you have to be.
Yeah, I was.
Because when you're going 70, you just died.
Yeah, exactly. Like one of them was a guy did a quick lane change on me, and I just went with it. I just did a swerve. That's all. Like we teach.
The fucking Honda.
I did a
Element.
swerve left. I got right next to his driver door, and we were going left. We were 3/4 away into the lane, and he looked over, and his eyeballs bulged out of his skull.
Yeah,
like,
just no idea,
there's
not
a
even looking.
motorcycle there. Then he swerved back over, and I was like,
Plus on the RT, you get that
I'm
immediate
too
like, oh
late.
shit, I did it to a cop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that takes them a second to realize. Oh, never mind.
yeah, because it's all white. It has as Adam coined it, the cop effect, which is awesome.
It's real, man. It's
Look,
real.
It's really the reflection. It's more the I see the white.
Yeah.
It reflects back.
You know what I
easier
think
to
it
see.
is? I think it has something to do with everybody being trained to look for one motorcycle
Yes.
already.
Yeah.
Especially in California, you see most people, speed limit 65, flow of traffic on the 5 is 75, 80.
Yeah.
So
So,
the problem is they don't use Moto Guzzi's anymore.
well, they want to catch up to people.
Yeah.
And guess what?
I was gonna say Tom Edgar has one gorgeous bike, but
Dude,
it's
he
not a-
rides the hell out of
Yeah,
that
he
thing.
does.
But that's
Yeah,
what,
it is.
And you know what?
When I started learning how to drive, that's what the motorcycle cops rode.
And Adam and I have an advantage coming back because BMW got the contract back for CHP.
Oh yeah.
And they're Long Beach BMW Motorrad is the contractor for CHP in Long Beach. So
Oh,
they're
it
going to
didn't
be
go to Yamaha for the FJRs.
No, that got washed out for some reason. They got DQ'd at the last minute. So Long Beach BMW Motorrad just bought 300 bikes.
Are they doing
for CHP.
RTPs or the GSs? Because I know they were playing around with
The
some
RTPs.
GSs. Okay.
Yeah.
I think they do the GSs like Riverside Sheriff areas, like
There's
rural,
some
like where they
really
need to
cool
off
ones,
roads and
though.
stuff.
What-
Yeah.
They-
Even around like Long Beach, I've seen a couple actually
yeah?
like Long Beach PD on GS. adventures, and it's like, wow, that is a cool
there's
cop bike.
Well, they got some hills up
What
there
they
too. so.
what they might do is use the like the F800s for training.
That's so good.
Because that's what LAPD does. They have their RTPs,
Mm-hmm.
but they use the F800 BMW bikes for their training bikes.
Because they want to play with BB guns before they go out on the real thing.
Apparently.
Well, speaking of the BMWs, Larry Misman, my brother that has his site Learn to Ride VC,
up,
another
Larry?
sponsor of the Zig Zone. And if you're out in the Santa Barbara or Ventura area,
Simi Valley.
Simi Valley, it is Learn to Ride VC.com, and you can go onto the website. You can get yourself signed up. The site is in Somas. It's really nice out there. It's nice and
It's
serene.
freaking awesome, dude. I just
Yeah.
worked there last Saturday, and it was like, just to ride there is just a relief. It's like, it's just, commuting every day, you need to get out and ride. And that's my
Exactly.
get out and ride to go work.
Yeah, because you're in like the hills and the farmland and everything.
Oh,
so
it's
it's
gorgeous.
it's just nice. It's kind of like working for Tom Edgar when he moves the site to Wrightwood. It's just nice and
Yeah,
serene.
it's
right
unique.
next to Highway 2. Even though Freight Train doesn't want to stop and visit, he just wants to ride by and honk his horn and wave at me.
Oh, no, I
Yeah.
did stop once, right?
No,
right,
when
Jordy?
Jordy was
Yeah,
there,
when I was
not
working.
when I was there.
No,
God
you were-
forbid you would stop when I was there.
No, you were there, but you had left
I'll
before
stop
he
from
got
there
there.
on out.
Hey, we got another call.
Hello.
Dialing for
Caller,
dollars.
you're on the Zig Zone.
Hey, it's Allie. What's up, people?
It's funny because you know what? I've always called her Allie, and it's Allison. And I've always.
Lena, you dumbass.
What's that? Oh, Lena. That's not Allie. That's
Oh,
Lena,
that.
not
You
Allie.
dumbass.
I take my hello back.
I think she knows her own name.
Hey, get back to work.
You're
We got
Lena, not
120 hours.
Allie. Oh my God! See, I was for a minute there. I was
You got
all-
us all excited, damn you.
right.
Give me 2 seconds to take a breather from a break from work, and I call you morons.
Well, that's your fucking fault. That
Yeah,
is
you
totally
chose
your fault.
poorly.
What were you thinking?
Right. It's Lena. She's one of my engineers, and she's been my engineer since the Zig Zone came about. So
Lena, your 2 seconds are up. Goodbye.
You are the weakest link.
Your commercial will be done, edited, and emailed to you tomorrow for sure.
Oh,
Oh,
very
sweet.
nice. I really appreciate that. That'd be awesome because our other sponsors are really looking forward to that. And actually, speaking of sponsors, hang on a second, Lena. One of the other sponsors is Ride Right. If you are a Corona, we have a site in Corona and we have a site in Lake Elsinore. So Temecula, Corona, Fontana,
Van
whatever.
Nuys too.
And Van Nuys, yes. I'm sorry, Van Nuys. It is Ride Right. It's RIDERITE.net. And you can go on to that site and get yourself signed up. And again, they do the advanced courses, the basic rider course, and the advanced courses. So even if you're not a new rider, if you are a rider and let's say you've been riding for umpteen years, I've got riders that come in and take the basic rider course.
Oh,
but
yeah.
if you want to come in and you don't want to take the basic course, come in and take advanced course. You'd be amazed at how much it changes. But we've got the commercial coming up, and Lena has been the one that's getting that thing done. So you got some motorcycle sounds in the background and
I've been a
everything.
little bit busy. Can you guys hear me clearly?
We can hear you, honey.
Yeah, what are you taking the trash out?
No, that's this a-hole.
No. I actually went. So who has a shot ready to go? Because God damn it, 102 hours in 2 weeks. Fuck this. Who has a shot ready?
There's one left. If you're
Well,
gonna
guess what's happening right now?
Zig will take it for you.
oh no, there's still
No,
half
I
a
got-
bottle. We want to take one, so come on down. There'll be one for you.
No. I have one right here. I have one right here in the car waiting for.
Oh, she wanted us to take one with you.
She works at an alcohol distributor.
Hey, that's always a good idea that we do not ever endorse is drink in your car before you drive home. I mean, come on now.
No, I got 2 more hours to go. Shut up.
Oh, so there she is. She's inside. She's inside taking a break, and she's gonna take a shot.
Yeah, she's in the passenger seat with
Yeah.
the keys not in ignition, so it's good.
That's right. The Jay just had a shot with me at work. Fuck you. Cheers.
God. Okay, Lena. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
But yes, I love you guys. I want to be there next week. I can't be there. They're killing me. So I love you guys. I will be with you guys soon.
Cheers,
All right.
Lena.
Love you, Lena.
All right. Love you guys.
I don't love you, but cheers.
Get back to work.
Yeah.
I'm loving everybody tonight.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
You hang up already.
She's awesome.
Usually people have to get to know me before they call me an asshole.
Nah.
Not Lena. Not Lena. You're an asshole when you before she even gets to know you.
Yeah.
So that's,
You start off as an
you
asshole.
start
She's
off
been
as an
exposed to a lot of people.
Yeah.
knows.
Right.
Why does it seem like I think of Smokey and the Bandit with her, and Buford T cuts off this old lady, and she's like, asshole, and flips him off. It's like that's her. She's just, like,
back to the BMW because I was talking about Larry. So it's Learn to Ride, and that's TO, not the number 2. Learn to Ride VC.com. If you're out in the open air area of Somas.
How pretty is that range?
It is. Oh, it's so nice.
Oh my
dude.
gosh, it's got ambiance.
Right?
Jesus.
You don't have any neighbors around, so you don't have to worry about any noise
Yeah,
issues.
If you fall over, no one will notice other than the people there. It's good.
And again, they do all the advanced courses.
Nice.
There.
LearnToRideVC.com.
Learn to Ride.
That must be why Adam has been there and taught there.
I'm going to post these URLs on the YouTube feed.
Yes, that would be awesome.
The other one was RideRight.net.
Ride Right, RITE, not RIGHT. It's RITE.net.
Yeah, they have.
Do we need to spell ride for you too?
And then SCMT.
SCMT 411. The number's 411.com. Oh, JJ had the key.
Uh-oh.
It's on the wall.
Oh, it's they moved the key up.
Just on the left side of the door.
Oh no!
Adam has it.
Adam's got it.
Guess where I was.
Read the sign, Adam.
Yeah, fuck it, Adam.
I was gonna let you all know I accidentally peed in the trash can too. I tried to hold it in.
Like, how do you have to put that sign up in the middle? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, everything was going good, and then right as I was about to leave, it just magnetized me into it.
Yeah. I was like, last couple shakes, it just boom.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, man, damn tractor beam.
Adam comes in. He's like going, "Hey, why is there a sign about somebody peeing in the trash can?"
I saw one like a couple months ago when I hear that says, "Please do not bring food into the bathroom too."
Yeah, that's like something I try not to do on purpose. Like, aren't there like poop particles like in the air nonstop?
Yeah.
I've seen too many like white people documentaries on YouTube, but that was one of them, and it was like
technically every time you're smelling it, you're eating those particles.
Yeah, no, this was the good one I heard. You know those like air dryers in the bathroom? I
Yeah.
heard that they actually just suck in poop and then just splatter it all over your hands.
That's true.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, I was with my my sisters. I have 2 sisters, and
We just talked about splattering poop into each other's hands.
Right.
We're going straight. I'm really curious where this is going. Zig.
Well, my sisters. So
He doesn't know yet.
Okay.
my other sister, she's like germaphobe, right?
Mhm.
And
So poop on the hands. That's like worst day ever.
Well, we were at Grand Central Station, so we're at Grand because
That's a
we
pretty
don't
bad
see
day
each
for
other
me,
that
too.
much. So we're at Grand Central Station, and my sister comes out, and her hands are still wet, and she's just kind of shaking them off, air drying them, right?
Mhm.
And I go, what? Because they're in Grand Central Station. That's such a tongue twister. Grand Central Station. There's no paper towels. They only have the air ones.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh no, I don't use the air ones because they blow poo on your hands."
Oh Jesus.
After I just got done doing it, and drying my hands
And either
off.
you're just like, well, thanks for telling me.
You're like, wait a minute.
Poo 5.
Well, I did that, and then I got myself a churro. And so now I'm eating this churro by hand, and I'm like going,
It's
wow.
a puro.
Really
It's a
seals in the flavor.
Tastes like cinnamon and shit.
Well, Jesus, just jacked me up just like that. You know what I mean? So, Jesus Christ.
man.
So what about those BMWs at Larry's
So yeah,
site?
so now the BMWs. Now Larry
The GS3
was the first. That's the GS310.
No, it's not GS. The G310R.
G310R. So, anyways,
Oh, that's right. And
those
there's a G
are
version,
some.
too.
Now Larry was the
There's
first
a
one to
GS
have it.
version.
Larry was
They
the
don't
first,
set up like
and I
it is,
weren't.
right?
It's
Larry
way
had got,
higher, yeah.
Larry had gotten them the week prior, so they haven't been used yet. So they're brand new. So when I got them open, TNR, I'm
Oh,
like,
they're fun.
ooh,
God, they're
look, yay! You know what I mean? It's like Christmas.
It's
like
a little
when you
bit better
open up-
than opening it up and seeing an eliminator. Yeah.
right? And I'm like, oh man.
Poor Zig never
So-
gets to demo new bikes.
So here I am. I'm out there and I'm just riding this bike. I'm supposed to be bringing all the bikes out, you know.
But it's a brand new Jeep.
I'm just
You're having a blast.
I'm just having fun, but fortunately I get there an hour early. So I'm just out there just riding and riding and riding. And it's winter, so it's still cold, but they have the Michelin tires on them. And I'm just having a blast. And the ground's still kind of wet because we had a lot of rain this year. And I'm just having a blast on this thing. And so Larry ends up teaching an advanced course. I think he was teaching the ARC 1 or the IRC.
Oh, is this when
or two.
Ophir was over there?
No.
Okay.
No. So it might have been the IRC. And so now he goes and they have been used. And he's like, okay, no one's going to ride these things. If only reason why someone's going to ride this bike is if it is someone who's already ridden before. So I'm like going, okay, well, let me ride them and find out what they're like. Dude, the throttle response
Beautiful. Yeah.
is like that. Brakes are like that. Tip-in is like that. I mean, it doesn't take much. And so I'm running through all the exercises, and, man, I did the swerve. And I'm like, man, I swear to God, it was like banking off of like Angry Birds when you get the little blue cushion thing and it banks off, you know? It's like, bing, bing. I'm like, holy shoot, man. But yeah, great bike. And I didn't let anybody ride that weekend. But after it was all done, me and Larry were sitting there riding. And actually, when I got doing I did the morning and the afternoon. So when I finished my morning class, I joined the
Oh shit!
That's the best.
on the BMW. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna ride a couple
What are y'all up
exercises.
to? Motorcycles and things? Oh, God.
Yeah, we put both of them in service last weekend, and a guy that has a little bit of experience was taking the MTC with his wife, and he was riding. And he was like just thrilled by it. He's like, "Wow, this thing is awesome! I'm gonna go buy one." I'm like, "Dude, for $49.99, you can't go wrong."
Especially for a BMW. I don't know. Does BMW have anything for less than like 10 grand?
Now they do.
They have a Starbucks subscription service that's not bad. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
deliver that on a BMW?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Well, in the
it's-
GS version of the 310, I figured out how to turn the ABS completely off.
Yes.
I don't know if you could do it on the R version, but
Hope.
Just about all of them. Yeah, you can turn it off on ours too.
I couldn't figure it out, so I didn't want to mess with it.
It's a one-time off, but then when you
So,
shut the ignition
Does
off,
yours have ABS turn off? Because I can turn off DTC, but I have to pull my ABS sensor if I want ABS off.
I thought that was linked together.
Nope.
It's not.
I don't believe so. Yeah. Which is I don't know. I don't like it when manufacturers don't trust me to turn things on and off. That is one problem I have.
I thought that turned both of them off, but I haven't.
It's not that they don't trust you.
Well, that's why
They don't
I
trust
put it
all
in
the
my
other riders that
BMW
sell the bikes,
Audi.
too.
I mean, it's America. Give me my freedom.
The only one I know how to manually or trick the bike to turn it off is Quinn Redeker.
Yeah.
So there's something to do with you trail brake, full lock, and do like 3 turns to the left, 3 turns to the right, and it'll, because of the front tire turning in different radius ratio as the rear, it'll screw up the ABS and it'll start blinking and it shuts the ABS off.
Yeah.
But that guy's a freak of nature to be able to turn things off by going in a circle. You know,
That's
Redeker's
that's
something
full
else.
voodoo. I think
Yeah.
at that
Well,
point.
the Harleys, they have, you can shut things off. They give you that option. But there's just too many goddamn
Theirs is
buttons.
nice the way they build it though, because below I think 10 miles an hour, the rear brake only activates the rear brake. It's only when you're going above 10 miles an hour that touching the rear brake helps you. with
the
front
link
brake.
on the front,
link
yeah,
brake
the
for
link
the Harley
braking.
system.
cool.
Yeah, actually,
But-
my buddy Ephraim, he says he rides a Harley, and he says, yeah, Harley is really fun on GMR, which is Glendale Mountain Road. Just, for those
Glendora.
of you, Glendora, Glendale,
So-
Glendora.
2 different
You have to
towns.
turn your traction control and the ABS off.
Yeah, they're two different system nets.
Right.
So yeah, if you want to pull the ABS though, you have to actually like take a little Torx wrench and then pull one of the sensors off and then zip tie it so it doesn't become friends with your wheels.
Because
Yeah.
I know, like when we were at Isle of Man, we rented S1000 double R and
Mike.
single R's. And I can hear myself talking.
Well, yeah, but you sounded like you were down the hallway.
It was down the
or
hall.
something.
But I couldn't get the damn thing to wheelie, and it was pissing me off. So, I was turning the traction control off, and I thought I had the ABS off, but like Mike was saying, it's a one time thing. The minute you turn your key off, then you got to do
Resets
it
the
every
whole
time.
Yeah,
It
you have to
resets the whole
commit to
thing.
that insanity every time.
Yeah.
I did, and I finally got it. And oh man, it was
Dude,
so,
how much power does that motor make?
Well, you're
That-
It's
that-
so scary.
that single R was probably one of the most phenomenal bikes, handling wise, upright, wheelie machine. Oh my god, it was. I had a blast, and even my other buddy Chris, he it rides an older R1, beautiful R1, but him and I both, we came back and I was like, I think I'm gonna buy one of those bikes.
They're too good.
Oh man, they are.
Yeah, that
But-
motor, the electronics on it, like it's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I
The-
can't wait to ride the new double R.
Oh my god, the 19s.
Well,
yeah.
2020 technically for California.
Yeah,
well,
stupid.
I was thinking
I'm gonna
of
go
going and
single
test
R. I
riding
want a
the,
little more upright bike.
Yeah, I need that comfort life.
I want a little more comfort nowadays.
Arthritis
you
is
know?
real.
As I say, I was thinking of going and riding the adventure version of the I can't remember if it's the SX or the
Yeah.
SR 1000. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that bike
adventure
doesn't
version.
have a throttle. It has like a location device. So if you want to be further up there, you just twist it and you're immediately there. Yeah.
The fly-by-wire or whatever
Yeah,
it's
it's
called.
not
Yeah.
actually a throttle. It's just a teleportation.
Sensor?
Yeah, that motor is
Oh, yeah,
ungodly.
The,
Yeah, I
the
think at
double
this-
R when you put it on race mode. Oh, that's.
I think at this point it's 205 horsepower.
Yeah,
You
you,
know
may be
what
an
I like
atheist,
it
but
too?
you'll see
When-
Jesus.
Yeah, it was like a 200 or a 500cc dirt bike on the street, but twice as fast.
Yeah.
It was like, when I rode one, I was like, this doesn't belong on the road. There's nowhere you can use this thing. You have to go on the track.
Yeah, and even at the track, it's like you just
Yeah, unless you're Rossi or
Yeah, the throttle by wire is very touchy because they didn't put it on America Mike's cross country, but they did have them on the Victory Octane. And
that was a cool looking
I
bike.
think
too.
almost
Oh,
all new
those things are
bikes have
so
that
much-
now.
Well,
Was that the other
I'm
one
just
Reed
talking
had?
about. I'm comparing the Vic and the
No, I thought he had a highball.
he had a
Oh, the
highball also.
highball.
Yeah, he had both. He had
That's
the
what-
highball and the. But when I rode the Octane, I had a customer come in and I did this first service and I took it for a ride. It's like it reminded me of a two-stroke dirt bike. So you're parked or you're hauling ass. You know,
Yeah,
it's
it's
pretty
two
much
speeds.
right, like
So
an
it's built for me.
FZ09. Well, you guys ever? I'm sure you've ridden an FZ09.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it's a great bike. Wow. Yeah, I think that platform I think is some of the most motorcycle you can get for the least amount.
Wait,
of money.
you had one, didn't you?
Yeah, I used to have an FJ.
You let me ride it when I took my
Yeah, I remember that.
IRC.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
Have
know,
you guys ridden a Panigale V4 though?
No.
Nah, I'm not big on the Italian.
I'm not interested in a bike that's going to cost me an extra $2,000 every 3 months.
The last time I
Hey, what's
rode
the
a
matter
really
with
nice
Italians?
bike, I ended up buying one. So
Did you really? Oh yeah.
So
right now.
we had
now,
one at the Isle of
right,
Man as well.
No, right now, Adam's wife is going. Chris, shut the
Shut
fuck
the
up.
fuck
she's already tracking on the new motorcycle purchases.
Right,
We're
so
good.
going,
Nice.
Anything Italian, I already know. That ain't gonna happen.
Been there, done that. The maintenance prices,
Well,
though.
that's
Right.
Yeah, he talked me out of buying a 2015 Duck 999R.
Great bike.
I could have got one on sale for like 15 grand. He was like, "Don't do it. As much as you ride, he goes, it's going to cost you so much money in maintenance."
Yeah, for how much we ride, unless we want to like take out a second mortgage on
Yeah.
maintenance, it's not cost effective in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It just costs way too much money, you know, from what
For a
you're gonna
daily
get.
Yeah, like,
commuter,
if you
yeah.
need another down payment for your bike every time you get your valves adjusted, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
Pretty
buddy.
much.
Hence why I bought an R1.
Raw Yamaha.
Yeah, I hear you can get a lot of replacement parts for him too.
Oh.
Yamaha. I can. I actually just bought a full tank fairing kit off of a 2017. It's all black, white, and red. Mint condition, $1,000.
Holy
What?
shit, that's cheap.
Nice.
Wow.
OEM, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
on
Damn.
OEM.
I
all
thought
OEM.
I thought you were gonna say, you know what, fucking, I'm gonna make it a track bike.
Well,
Yeah, but when you can find OEM for
When
that
I-
price, Jesus.
yeah, for that price, and I've bought from this guy before. He goes to the auctions and he has customers and stuff that turn their bikes into race bikes. But the guy's out of Vegas, and I just happened to go on eBay and I'm looking, and I was like, wow, $1,075 or best offer. I went,
Wow.
the tank alone's $450. You know,
Yeah.
brand new, they're $1,000.
Right.
And I went, I'll offer him $1,000. Bam! Like 10 minutes later, done. And then, what was it, Tuesday? I'm in the garage and I'm pulling parts off the bike. The guy shows up personally and drops it off. He's like, yeah, I was going to the auctions and I knew your house was right there. He's like, I just dropped it off to you. I'm like, damn, that was awesome.
Oh, very nice.
The tank's all white. The side fairings are all black with the red and white R1 logo on them.
Nice.
And then the nose piece is all white. So I can incorporate blue into the tank and the nose and have it still match the rims, you know?
Yeah.
Cool.
So, whichever route I go, I mean, the most expensive part is the tank. I found a full aluminum race subframe for
Nice.
$410.
Nice.
And so, I mean,
Hey.
the subframe's
Race
toast.
rails.
Race rails.
Race rails.
Those poser cages?
Ooh.
I'm just saying.
Poser
It,
cages?
it would probably help out a little bit just
Well-
in case you have another one.
If you look at the side of the bike, I mean, the fairings weren't touched except for where I low sided and it ground down. You know, because I had frame sliders on it, so it went down. There's only like little scuffs, but I think it's from my boots on the side.
Oh.
So it did. The case savers did their job. Nothing happened to the sides. It was all top
It's
damage.
when it flipped,
from
that's
when it
when
flipped.
Yeah, more that
Yeah.
twisting, jerking, wailing, and gnashing of teeth motion.
Right.
Yeah. So bad.
But so you know, I mean, the subframe is going to be probably the most expensive. You know, I mean, I can always, if I go to race fairings, I can always sell all those other OEM stuff. And
I think I'm with Dave and
So-
Vince about it's the exhaust.
No, you better
Remember
keep that fucking exhaust, buddy.
So remember last year at the PDW Friday,
He was
when,
the only bike I could
one
hear
of my-
behind me.
One of my co-instructors, JJ, had that ape with the SC Project exhaust, and then he launched it right in front of Lee. I think were you behind him?
Yeah, I think I saw
Yeah,
that,
when he
yeah.
air
Well, I was
melded
behind him the whole way on that memorial ride.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm thinking, who the fuck is this asshole?
Yeah, you can hear Chris coming. It's
And then
like
when he took
you
his
know,
helmet off, I went, oh, shit.
it's like an F-15 coming up behind you.
Yeah.
It's like run.
Like I said, that's the only
Take
bike
over.
I've been able to hear behind me above my exhaust since I put my exhaust on my bike.
I can hear
Well,
that bike in
it's
Oceanside.
speaking of noise, I
I
mean,
love it though. It sounds. I don't
It
know,
sounds like
amazing.
a NASCAR.
It's that
It
cross.
does,
It's
yeah.
that cross
It
plane
does.
motor.
Yeah,
That's
that
why.
thing's
you know,
amazing.
Adam's got a 250 Ninja that's got a straight freaking
it's
exhaust.
not even
man.
that loud.
You can hear that sound that's coming. Like okay, I know he's somewhere around me, you know, and that thing's just disgustingly loud.
Yeah, I feel bad for that little bike.
Eh.
Someone said you blew the motor in it.
I don't know what's wrong with it. I'm still waiting to hear back from my mechanic, but I reamed it on Saturday. Like, I rode the snot out of that bike. And I bought it so I could ride the snot out of
Yeah.
it. So I'm enjoying life. You know, and then, Sunday morning, I'm doing my little T-clocks check, making sure, and there was like 2 inches of oil in the bedpan.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm not even going to think about this. I'm just going to ride my RT all day. This is a problem for future
If it's gonna blow up, it's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
Well, and it's one of those
Well,
bikes.
probably the drain plug.
I'm hoping it was the drain plug.
Well, when I rode it last time out there, it was like you had to like start it and then ride it because it wouldn't idle.
It's better now. I got the carbs clean.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
This is one of those bikes I bought for like $1,600, and I
Oh,
was like, I
nice.
am buying this to just beat the snot out of and try and get better on. So yeah, I mean, when the motor went, it was just like, well, I probably got my money's worth out of this. So worst case scenario, we're good.
Well, you can buy another motor for like $400,
Yeah,
and it takes about maybe 3 hours to swap it out. So it's there you go.
Sounds like I might have a friend to help.
I'm there for you, brother. I'm there for you.
Yeah, but Adam wants to get a super motard.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now.
Lee's talking about a 150.
Yeah.
Lee's like 150R. Hello, 150R.
So yeah, you can either go for the 150, which is good, but I'm really looking at those FS 450s too. You know, I think that would be a really fun bike. You know, it's something. Yeah, it'd be fun and some
Fun
monthly
he's in.
payments, so it's not like I have to pony the cash up all up front, which is good because I like life. You know.
Well, it's funny because Lee, actually Lee and who's the other
Dan
guy?
Parks has
we
one
got
too,
Nick,
yeah.
and then
Oh,
Fear.
you're talking about the 150 crew, right?
the 150.
Fear has one
Yeah,
now.
Fear has
one now, and and yeah, it just
Nick, Lee,
scream-
Bill.
It is funny to watch Lee on a 150, just like getting on and passing,
Smoking people.
like an
Yeah.
an R1.
Yeah.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Or just leader bikes, and I'm like, yeah, that's disgustingly sick, right?
Yeah, then when he gets on
Oh,
his
yeah.
Husaberg 450, it's just lights out. Like that thing is wicked fast, and Lee knows how to use every inch of it. But a 450, supermotor is serious machine.
It's like
man.
a dream motorcycle. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And so you're still contemplating that?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where Dave Bianco down at Pendleton, he and I are kind of looking at using it as like maybe a training tool for some of the Marines. So our goal is to try and get something that we can use down there, and then take some of the more at-risk dudes who are maybe making poor life choices in Ortega or Palomar, right? And say, hey, if you are willing to invest the energy and you'll make a commitment to helping out your community, being a mentor on base, then maybe you can start doing some racing with us, and then we'll bring it out and do like UMRA or M1GP stuff if we get something that'll fit in
good
those.
idea.
So that's kind of the ultimate goal, is get something where, we can do a lot of training on it too, but my hope is that it'll be something that starts, getting Marines to make better choices down there, because it's crazy how bad the fatalities are on motorcycles on Pendleton.
Right, which is the same thing I do at my shop. I get my customers like, hey, join us on the track. You'd be surprised at how much more fun it is. And once you've been in the track, you'll always go back, and you'll notice that you'll start riding less extreme on the street.
Yeah,
you know the two worlds. There's a time and a place. And you'll definitely say, this is not the time and place, this is the time and the place. And you have so much more fun. You know what I mean?
I can attest to that too, because Zig took me on one of the track days last year. I still need to go back again.
Yes, you did.
I loved it. It was awesome. I just haven't been able to connect time-wise with these other ones. I'm like, damn it, I wanted to go to Chuckwalla, but I was up in Oregon.
That's a long drive
After
from
Christy
Oregon.
and I did our first track
That's a
day,
long drive from Oregon.
we pushed it a lot in the canyons, and we had some pretty close calls. And then, my buddy Matt Brown invited us to our first track day out at Button Willow. Thank you.
I hear you now.
And it was actually, you guys know Rick Becker?
Yeah.
So it was Rick Becker's
He's a cool
track
guy.
day company, and it was his final hurrah, and it was for his employees and their friends. Well, Matt Brown invited us out there, and it was open sessions. Just it was really cool. But after that track day, we came back home, and our first ride back out in the canyons, I was so almost scared. I was like, oh wow, man. On the track, you can push it, and there's you don't have all those thoughts of running wide and hitting a mountain or going head on with a car, blah blah blah. And I was actually kind of scared when I went out there, and I went, wow, I need to do more track days, and so the addiction was there, man. It was and it because he takes all the what ifs, I guess, out of it, so to speak, and
well, I've also
What if
had
that asshole in
well,
the
I've
Prius
also had
cuts me off again?
Well, I've also had customers that go, how much does it cost? I said, well, here's how much it costs. I mean, you got to pay, for the track day. You've got, the gas. You can use, fortunately, I get avgas from Tom, so which is nice. Then your food and blah blah. It's like a camping trip, basically. A little more. So I'm like, okay, you're probably looking, if you're single, you're going solo, then you're probably looking at maybe like $800. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money.
That's if you go by
Well,
yourself, yeah.
Yeah, well, but so it depends on where you go too. You can do it as cheap as $400.
oh, you can totally rough it, take a tent in the back of your truck.
I used to
or your car, whatever, yeah.
So $400.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now, and then like, wow, then they'll be like, oh, that's a lot of money. Okay, now, you're going up the Highway 18, and you happen to hit some gravel, and it takes your bike out.
4,000.
How much does that just cost you?
Well, I went for the best insurance with like a $1,500, deductible. So
Right. It's like because you have so many more hazards. Let's go back to the hazards. You're gonna hit you hit a puddle of coolant. Because people in their cars, they're not gonna maintain their stuff. They think if I went through Jiffy Lube, I'm good.
Yeah, you know what? I rode back Angeles Forest Highway from Palmdale last Saturday night. Of course, with the Clearwaters, I can make nighttime out of daytime, so it's not a big deal.
love those
But so
makers.
people in their cars are crashing all over the place. So when they crash, they break their coolers, trans coolers, oil pans, and
This
with
shit's everywhere on the
with
road.
with my scorching lights at night, it really picks up all that stain on the ground.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, if you come flying around this corner, like
Yeah.
flying, and you'll be like, you're not going to be flying very far. Then you're on your butt going off the road, and hopefully not into another car or something, because you're going to be into the rocks or a guardrail or
Or
something
you could
else.
be flying
but it's
off a cliff.
or you could fly off a
Or
cliff.
off a cliff,
So,
yeah.
Not a smart place to be.
Thank you,
pushing it,
Amsterdam.
but,
I've
Thank
had
you
way
for
more
adding that.
friends get hurt in canyon roads. Like I got a dude that
Yeah.
raced competitively, and he's paralyzed from the neck down now because he had something happen in Ortega. Like you
Yeah.
get all these, and then I've had other friends who crash at 120, 140 miles an hour and then walk away from it, and it's.
Yeah.
It is just such a dramatic difference in consequences going someplace where you can safely push your limits and
Yeah.
find out where they actually are. But for a lot of riders on the street, they don't know where the limit actually is until that moment where they actually
Yep.
crash and have a bad experience.
Oh,
So-
there's my traction.
yeah. Oh, I found the edge. Yeah. That's a really scary place to find the edge.
Yes,
but
it
if you
is.
can go to a track, then you can find where your limit is, and maybe not the bike's limit, but just
Yeah.
your limit. And then when you ride on the street, as long as you use good judgment, now you can stay below that.
Yep.
But man, it's so scary sometimes when you see people pushing public canyon roads because they're pushing probably at their limit or beyond it.
Yep.
And they don't have all that training to fall back on. They don't have the,
Yeah.
the lapse of experience of feeling tires push just a little bit so they know when to back off.
or into that black hole. What if you're going around a blind corner and someone in a
Yeah.
car, a tourist, decides to make a U-turn right in the middle of the highway? Well,
Yeah.
your options are super limited. at
Yeah, if
that
you
point.
haven't trained
It's
yourself to look and push without thinking about it, you're going right into their
Yeah.
front end because they're coming at you.
You can be the world's best motorcyclist, like Nikki Hayden.
Yeah.
Sad story.
Right. On
Yeah.
a bicycle.
Bicycle. Like how many? I mean, shoot. Like
I wonder if he
I
was
don't
great-
wear gear when I ride a bicycle. Like it's a bicycle. I'm
Right.
And I do a ton of bicycle training, mountain bikes, and I wear gear for that kind of
cool.
stuff. But
Yeah.
you don't think about
Yeah.
that kind of risk. So there you have this guy who you can say had probably the world's best training.
Yeah.
World's best training. I mean, that Nikki Hayden skill level beyond anything I'll ever get close to. Most of it probably ever
Yeah.
will. And somebody else being inattentive. That's all it took.
Yep.
That's it.
Which is back, and which one of the things that we stress when we do the biker alley is, and I bring this up when my sons went through the driver's ed, because they don't have it in high school anymore. You got to pay for it.
Right.
It's week long, 7 days. So you do 5 days of classroom, and then you do a Saturday and Sunday behind the wheel.
That is way better than it was when I went through.
I mean, I was in high school, so we did it for a semester.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
No, mine was
Yeah.
like a straight class. Like it was like a weekend thing, and they're like, all right, you can drive. And I was like, dude, thank God my dad taught me what was going on.
Right?
Yeah.
So my sons go through the class now. It's 4.5 hours each day of the week, which equals to how many hours in 5 days?
23 or I mean, we already talked about math with clockwise,
Okay.
counterclockwise.
22 and a half, 22
Wait,
and a
that's
half
not
hours.
math.
So that's 20. So that's 22 and a half hours, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and then I think it was 3 hours or 2 hours behind the wheel. One of
Two?
the two, 2 or 3 hours behind the wheel. It was one something like that. What is it? Because you have kids that are going through it right now.
It was longer than that. It was like, well, I mean, I don't know.
And it wasn't
I
longer
don't
than that.
know
It was
what
like
the minimum. I
maybe
know we
3 hours
paid
behind the wheel.
I think we paid like a 40-hour class because we wanted them to get time behind the wheel with an instructor. So I think they went to like a 40-hour because they went driving a lot, and they went on the freeways, they went all over the place, and it was Viva Driving School, and they take the kids with them to the DMV to go through the whole driving, test. So I think the minimum is something like 2 hours.
Well, but they have
it's
other kids
ridiculous.
with, like you said, they have other kids with them. So it's
No, that's
each
one-on-one.
kid-
They
each
drop
kid has
one
to
off,
have
pick one
3
up,
hours
but-
behind the wheel
Yeah, it's minimal though. It's
for 2 days.
yeah,
Just because they
it's-
pull over and they swap kids out and keep on going.
It's basically
But
nothing.
it's like an 8-hour day
Chinese fire drill.
or something like that. But anyways,
I think they do it one-on-one nowadays. They don't have two kids.
Yeah, and there's
No.
not. Well, when
It's
our kids
mostly
did it, the
one-on-one.
only time there was another person in the cars, they went to like
Drop 'em
pick
off,
someone
right?
up, and then they drive back and
Oh,
drop
yeah.
off our kid, and then the other,
Okay.
then they take off. But yeah, it's not like when we went to driving school.
Where you had three kids in the car.
1984, where it was
Yeah.
like Yeah, a Toyota Tercel and manual transmission, which is hilarious. I didn't know how to drive it, but it
Man,
was
I feel like everybody should learn
Shit.
a manual.
yeah.
Mine
yeah,
was
it
a
awesome.
Gremlin, dude. What the
Oh,
hell?
wow. We had a brand new Toyota Tercel back in the day.
Yeah, you were
We had some
spoiled.
giant
Yeah.
Dodge car that was like a boat, but the engine was so underpowered they would not go over 25 miles an hour. But we were racing around the high school parking lots and stuff until the teacher would yell at us.
Oh, that's funny.
But I asked my son, my older son, when he took it, and I waited till they did the classroom session for an entire week. So I picked him up on Friday. I says, Dylan, so how much information did you cover about motorcycles? He goes, we spent about 15 minutes on Wednesday.
Oh.
About motorcycles.
That was it, about motorcycles.
And it was 17 minutes for trucks.
You know what I mean?
The 80,000 pound trucks that can run you over.
So you actually spent 22 and a half hours, and you spent 15 minutes. It's no wonder people have no clue.
Yeah.
You know? My younger son, he went through it. I asked him the same question. He gave me the same answer. What do we do, Adam, when just in the basic rider course during classroom 1? Once we get them, okay, gear, the operation of the motorcycle, what do we go right into?
That's the normal situations, like getting started, like things you should be considered about.
Yeah, and your attention,
Managing intersections and the mental process.
exactly.
Yeah.
Looking at everything around you, I just like, wow. So why don't they do that with the driver's course? That just is what amazes me.
And
I can't.
to expand on that, and I always tell the students, I say, okay, show of hands, who in here, I'm assuming everyone drove because everyone's here to ride motorcycles, or everyone drove a car, drove here somehow. So show of hands, who's been trained on how to look for motorcyclists when you're driving your car?
Nobody's
What,
hands.
nobody?
No, but yeah, it's crickets.
Nobody. So what's that tell you?
Crickets.
We see signs, look twice for motorcyclists. Look for motorcyclists. Look for motorcyclists. But does anybody know how? No.
And so my point
Is that a problem or what? So at the advisory, the CMSP advisory meeting in Sacramento, we have DMV, Caltrans, everybody there. Okay, this huge round table. So I stood up and said, I'd like to say something, because at the end it's like open forum, and they really like the feedback. So I stood up and I did that. I said, well, these are people from DMV that write this stuff, right? In Caltrans. They're like, who's been trained on how to look for a motorcyclist? And I mean, we got like captains from CHP, everybody, and nobody. They all look at each other like,
huh?
Oh shit. Yeah, you see the missing piece of the puzzle now?
Right.
It's motorcycle shaped.
Right.
Right?
What is this weird looking wheel piece? I don't know where that is.
So nobody's trained. I mean, how hard would it be to add a piece in there? Scan your mirrors every 4 to 8 seconds. Look in between the cars before you make a lane change.
Not
Look
everything
for the-
on public roads is car shaped.
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, it really would be simple stuff. One of our, a friend of ours, she's actually the mayor of the city now, but she was a city council member. She has to travel a lot to go to different meetings. And we just got in this conversation about lane splitting. I'm like, these bikes that come up on me and scare the crap out of me. They go flying by me and scare me.
You're not looking for
So
them.
I told her that. I said, okay,
sometimes.
here's what I want you to do. Before you make your lane change, look in the mirror and look in between the cars.
And turn your head.
And look in between those cars and see if you see anything, and then make your lane change.
Did you know that the mirrors work even if you're not making lane changes?
Amazing.
Amazing.
The whole time!
And they're always there.
No kidding.
Wait. So do the
And there's
blinkers, right?
three.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing too. There's even these lights on cars.
Yeah.
And if you put them, it's a system, and all the drivers around you, they know what it means.
And you bloody
The turn
pay
signals,
for 'em.
And it tells other drivers what you're gonna do before you do it. They don't have to assume. No assumptions.
I know.
And everybody already knows what it means. But
Yeah.
nobody signals. Oh, that's my biggest pet peeve.
Meanwhile, they
man.
got like Mike and I full signals every time on the motorcycle.
I
We're
make-
like, oh my god, they use them.
I use my signals inside of my lane. If I'm going from the right side of my lane to the left, I might as well signal. There might be a motorcyclist I don't know is up on my button. I don't want to surprise them.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that blows my like. I'll get on my wife's case sometimes. She won't use her signals occasionally. She's a great driver, but occasionally she won't. Like, so why didn't you use it? Oh, I'm in an alley. I didn't see anybody. It's like, well, what if there was a motorcyclist that you didn't know was behind you? How about that then?
She's like, F you, I want a divorce.
Dude, man, turn signals.
it's a
What
I
about
wish-
teaching people how to merge.
Oh, you mean like get up to the speed of the
Yeah.
freeway
Yeah.
before you're on the
Before you're on
freeway?
the freeway.
You legally get to accelerate as fast as your vehicle will go, and everyone's over there doing 35 on ramps.
Oh, the looks I get because I won't slam on my brakes to
And
let
then I'm
people in.
trying to dodge Mike and his big old heavy truck. Jeez.
Yeah, it's a challenge out there, man.
I don't care if you can't hear your fucking self at all. God damn,
I know
can
he's like
hear you.
blowing the mic out. Hey Zig, so before we come up on the 9 o'clock cutoff here, so I don't know if you looked at all the threads today. There's like 8 million threads. So Lee Parks chimed in. Lee wants to be a guest, so
Lee, I'll get.
it happen.
Thank God. I've been bugging Lee, and he's a busy man.
He said, "Give him a
he's,
date."
He's running the Total Control training. It's a very huge thing. I can't. I run one motorcycle shop. I have a small mom and pop shop.
July 15th.
And and I work on the weekends. My life is completely just inundated. I can't imagine what it would take to actually run Total Control training.
You know, multiple states.
Holy cow!
Now on the other side of the country.
Yeah, multiple states.
I'm not gonna lie. Until
Yeah.
I check my calendar, I have no idea what's happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right?
I had to give my girlfriend access to my calendar because I had no idea what we're doing. Everything.
Yeah.
You need to put it in there.
Dude,
I
that's
don't know what's
smart.
going
I
on.
need to do that.
Well, because I've talked to Lee, and he's like, yeah, I'll get on. I'm just so busy, and I'm like, okay, well, who else? Okay, well, there's Bianco, and there's Adam, and then there's Christine, and let me start bugging these people. So I finally, well, I had Steve Kirsch has been on there.
He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Good cat.
And so I'm getting you guys in. One of the things I love about Total Control Training, I've been an instructor for 17 years. And when TCT took over, they actually brought the whole curriculum and the training as a family. Because, when we do, one of the things I love is we're doing our PDW in September. And what do we do on Friday, Adam?
Friday Fun Day.
Oh,
Yes!
Yeah.
Friday Fun Day.
And
Wait. It's Friday Wheelie Day.
Yes.
Maybe for the R1s in the crowd.
Wheelies
So-
are for throttle control.
So one of the things they say when you sign up for that, they say, are there any special situations or any special requests? And I always put, I demand hugs. I will walk around that paddock and I will hug every single person that's on that day. If I just met you, hey, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm Zig. How you doing? Boom. You know what I mean? And we have the greatest time.
It's because there's this group of people that has the same goal. You know what I mean? Like the amount of energy that y'all put into trying to save people's lives, to get them home to their families. Like, how many people do you know that do their job because it's a job? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we're all involved in motorcycle training, not because of the paycheck that comes with it, but because one, we love motorcycles. Like, man, the moment we forget that, we're lost. But two, like, we want to help people get home to their families because we've probably all experienced some kind of loss on a motorcycle. Like, that's why I got into this stuff. I had a junior Marine pass away while I was on Camp Pendleton. And after that, it was like, man, we can train for combat situations. I can make sure this dude's set to go in an infantry situation, but I had nothing I could have helped him with riding. And now it's like we get this huge group of people that all has that same goal of like, how can I make sure that person goes home to their family? Not force them to do something, because like I don't know, you guys like being told what to do?
No.
I hate being told what to do, but if we
I think
can,
we all have that in common,
if
too.
we can teach them the physics, the science of motorcycles, if we can help them understand the why behind that stuff, then they can make their own choices and they're going to get home. And as a result, that's I think what motivates this group, and that's I think what's special, man.
absolutely.
Like, dude,
Right.
you meet instructors from Northern California. You've never talked to them before. It's like, man, we've got the same mindset.
Exactly, and it's become a family, and it's one of the things I love, and I look so forward to the PDWs. But we are only going to click off on the radio, the chaoticradio.com app. So we are still going into after hours, the after show, and because we are not going to let Adam leave without giving us at least another hour. So if you are on the chaoticradio.com app, we're just going to close off that one. We're still going to be live on Facebook, and we're still going to be live on YouTube on the Zig Zone. So watch how quick this is. As soon as the teacher, Atsuko hates this song.
Who hates this song?
Well, it's because I'll tell you the story when after the show.
Okay, that sounds good.
It has a good
I'm gonna use
story.
It's got a story.
We got 1 minute still if you want to talk about the sponsors real quick.
Yes. Oh, so anyways, out in the Santa Barbara, Ventura, Simi Valley area is learntoridevc.com. If you're Van Nuys, Temecula, Lake Elsinore, Corona, you're looking at rideright.net, RIDERITE.net. And if you're looking at
San
Riverside,
Bernardino,
San Bernardino,
Palm Springs.
areas, Palm Springs, you are going to go to SCMT411.com. That's SCMT411.
SoCal Motorcycle Training.
And I'm telling you, you're either going to see my ugly face or his ugly face or his ugly face sometime along there. And maybe America Mike might even stop by and say hi. Who knows? But those of you on the .com app, we are going to sign off on that. But we're still going to be live on YouTube and the Facebook.
Yep, we're go now. Not like we went anywhere, but hey.
Right. Anyway, there we go. I love this picture of Justin.
Now there's a 6-hour block.
It's a
for
great
Vegas.
It's a great picture of him.
That is a good picture.
It is a good picture. And I miss him, and I know that moms. It's still fresh. I mean, we're talking. It's June.
Yeah, I just think about
And then this.
It's been 6 months.
It's only been 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
And Michelle, if you're still listening, I did read your comment. Thank you so much, and love you, miss you. Hopefully, we'll see you very soon. So anyhow.
Well, and actually, Cassie just had her because we were at Chuckwalla.
Yep, she just had
She
her
had the baby shower.
Baby shower. Christy and Susan went.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
They made it. Okay.
As soon as we got home, they went upstairs and buttered themselves up and took off. And Tony and I we stayed back and unpacked everything from the track. And
oh, that's awesome.
yeah, so they made it out there. It was really cool.
Yeah, I went by her house a week earlier. I went a week earlier, and I dropped off, the gifts that Otsko and I got her. Because I knew I was like, you know what, when I get home, I'm gonna have to unpack, and all that stuff. I'm gonna be just boom. When I hit that pillow, actually, when I laid on my bed, I was gonna play Angry Birds, so I had Angry Birds up, and as soon as I laid down, I didn't even finish like one thing. I was like, hey. That was it. The track takes it out of you. I'm just saying.
Playing Angry Birds.
So Susan actually made a comment on there. We were talking about the hazards of pushing it in the canyons, and then you also have idiots that like to dump oil all over the roads. A couple
Oil
years
and
ago,
rocks and stuff. Yeah.
Up at GMR, there was a guy, a local guy. They ended up catching him. He literally took a 50-gallon barrel of oil and dumped it all over where everybody hangs out up at the Fork, from GMR and East Fork Road, and then there were certain spots throughout GMR coming from the backside or front side, Glendora up to the Fork, and dumping oil, burnt motor oil in the turns, and a lot of people crashed up there, and it took them a while, but he ended up being a local realtor that was pissed off because of all the bikers up there. He was a road biker.
Well, I hope they linked him to every crash in those specific corners and put him away.
They did. They nailed his ass.
It was a rider we had a GoPro, and they that's how they caught him.
Oh,
you pick up the frames. You see him walk from. It was
Back-
a red Suburban.
Red Suburban.
You can see it in the frames. You're like,
oh,
someone just was recording. They weren't even thinking, and they went back and watched their video. They're like, hey, that's the guy right there. That's how they got him.
Oh my God! Really?
Thank God.
Yeah, they finally.
I mean, really?
I hope they got him for attempted murder.
I mean, the East Fork Road, where everybody hangs out up at GMR. It's where
Is that where that restaurant is?
It's where Glendora Mountain Ridge comes in. East Fork Road goes down, and then you have Baldy Ridge Road So it's kind of the whole fork, and everybody
That was
hangs out
fun.
up there. And I mean, it was plastered, literally a 50-gallon barrel of jug
Jesus.
or of oil all over the place. It was nuts.
Yeah,
I mean,
actually,
it was bad.
there was something that actually beneficial came out of that. There was a group that would go up there and actually was going and just kind of scoping out, looking to see if they could find out who's doing this. And meanwhile, they got a group together that was actually cleaning up turnouts, the roadway, people with brooms pushing rock and sand back off the road. So there was a whole group that kind of came together and worked as a team to try to make it a safer road. So it worked
the
out pretty cool.
skateboarders,
And the skateboarder group. Yeah.
Really?
Go up there. Yeah, there's
They do the downhill stuff,
luge.
right?
Yeah, like and they go up there and they clean up. There was a group of guys, riders. They go up there at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and they all load up in a truck with brooms and stuff, and they go up and they'd sweep all the roads. But I mean, those guys, they're pushing it. They're running it like a racetrack up there.
Well, yes, I mean you do get the
know.
goofballs, and
but it was cool cleaning up, and
well, the thing is an idiot like that doesn't realize it's not only affecting motorcyclists; it's affecting
The
car
guys,
drivers
people
too.
in cars too. So you got people creaming off a mountain and killing their whole family because you don't like bikers. Like,
Right.
It makes no fucking sense to me.
Use your grown-up voice, right?
Yeah.
And talk to people if you got an issue with
Right.
So now, one of my topics was, are motorcycles dangerous?
Yeah.
Now, because you get
Nah.
you
The
get that a
riders
lot, because when you're doing the meet and greet in the beginning of classroom 1, and everyone's introducing themselves, and you always, not always, but you get that one person that wants to say, yeah, I'm here, my name's blah blah blah, and I'm here against my family's will because they say motorcycles are dangerous and I'm going to kill myself. And I love that one.
So do I.
Because instead of going to the next person, okay, yeah, it was very nice to meet you. Now, hang on. I'm gonna let's enhance on that. Now, are motorcycles dangerous? Okay, well, let's talk about that. Is a beer bottle dangerous?
Sometimes.
But is it dangerous by itself?
Well, not without some outside action.
Very good. Is a knife dangerous?
When used in a specific way.
Very good. Is a gun dangerous?
Mine walks out of the house all the time.
You
and
see,
just assaults people.
the whole thing is that these items are just inanimate objects.
Yeah.
They're not dangerous.
Nope.
They're only dangerous. Is a car dangerous? It's not. But
More dangerous than firearms.
It's only they're only
Right.
It is more dangerous.
It is
than
more
fire-
dangerous than
We
firearms.
had we had more fatalities over Memorial Day weekend with drunk under the
Oh,
influence
yeah.
drivers in cars than we did with all firearm fatalities so far this
Dude,
year in
throughout
one
the
freaking
entire
weekend.
year in one weekend. Yes.
Yeah, but that's okay though. We'll save lives by banning the guns.
Right.
Thank you.
CHP did 781 DUIs just by Sunday morning of Memorial Day weekend.
See, we need to do, America
It cost
Mike.
about almost $20,000 each.
Then the next America show,
Mm-hmm.
Adam's coming on.
Cool.
I'm so much of a patriot. I'm planning on leaving this country.
But my thing is like no, none of this is dangerous. So motorcycles are not dangerous. They're not. They're only dangerous because the person that is behind the handlebars. That's the only way they become dangerous. All right. Which education reduces this danger,
Yeah.
which we try to get them back into the advanced courses, which is going to do the 37 to
61.
% reduction in accidents and fatalities. Do you ever like say you're it's a habit of mine, Adam. When I even I'm at a gas station and a rider pulls up and for one of the first things I look at is their chain. Because it's all
Oh yeah, you're talking about like it's got more free play in it than
looks like a hammock.
Oh god, and it's got that beautiful brown rusty color.
Right.
Yeah. The best part is though how you can see how it doesn't quite bend.
Right.
Yeah.
So my first thing is I that's one thing I look at. And it sparks and their tires. So that sparks the conversation. Hey, how you doing? And it always comes up. So have you taken the safety course? And I'll tell you, at least 90% of the people that I confront at a gas station Never
Nope.
taken the safety course.
Yeah. It is hard to incentivize people.
Yeah.
And you know what answer I get back? Well, why would I need it?
Exactly.
Why would I need it? So now, I know what answer I give them.
Okay.
So Adam, you're at a gas station and you do the same thing. So you walk up, you're talking, hey, blah blah blah. You know, have you taken the safety course? And then the person says, I don't know. Why do I need it?
I think I would say to them, if you are happy with the control that you feel you have over your bike, then yeah, keep riding the way you want. But if you've ever been in a situation where you felt like you got a little lucky, then you might be able to take something good away from it. Because I'll tell you that we've got AMA racers that'll come through basic classes, and if they've got a good attitude, they're going to learn a ton over that weekend. Because all being an amazing motorcyclist is about is being excellent at the basics. So if you're already good at the basics and you go and take a basic class, now you can get excellent at the basics. But most people feel like even the basic class is beneath them. But like as somebody who has an expert racing license, does trials riding, I can still learn something going through an MTC taught by anybody in the state. I guarantee it. Yeah. And I'm like an average rider, but like the bottom line is if you have the right attitude, you are able to learn. So, like, for me, it comes down to a little bit of freedom, too. Like, I want people to have the freedom to say, I don't want to take training. I don't want to wear a helmet. I don't want to do this stuff. Because I want people to have control over the lives that they want. But what I think a lot of times is
America.
People end up making choices out of a little bit of unintentional ignorance.
Right.
And I think we're all kind of guilty of that in some way.
At
Like,
some point,
we're all a little bit naive in what we think. What we actually know is a fraction of what we think we know, right? But I want people to be confident in the choices they're making. And I know for me, before I took a whole bunch of classes, I made a lot of choices on motorcycles that in hindsight, I look at like, man, that was dumb. Oh my gosh, the things that I've learned, the choices I've made, the things that I've thought. But until you expose yourself to that extra knowledge, you can only make the best decisions you're capable of knowing. And most people are out there, again, they're trying their best. They're trying to make the best choices they can based off of the information they have.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, you may think you have all the information, but what if there was a little more out there? Just what if?
Yeah.
I don't know. That might be the approach I took.
My class this weekend up in High Desert, I had a bunch of cruiser Harley. Well, actually, one guy was on a Star 750. The other guy was on a Victory.
So cruisers.
Yeah, cruisers. Anyhow, but you were saying about fatigue, and the one guy throughout the weekend, throughout the first day, by the end of the day, he was so fatigued that he was just like, oh wow, I'm so tired, man. This is physically draining.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, all
You're
right,
working
cool.
too hard.
And I said, you're fighting the bike is the problem.
Yeah.
And so I said, but tomorrow, day 2, I said we're gonna get faster speeds. We're gonna work on body positioning, and but the cool thing was that they'd been riding previously, and there was a female rider too that was riding a big like full dress Harley 1,000-pound bike, and
big bike, little rider.
by the end of day 2, we were all done, and I started out the day by telling them, hey, look, we're going to be one big family for the weekend, so let's all, regardless of our skill set, blah, 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 we're going to get along, we're going to respect the learning of each other, blah, blah, blah. And so day 2, the guy's like, wow. He's all, I'm not as tired as I was yesterday. And I went, yeah. I said, so all that body positioning and stuff that we work on, it's not just for, ground clearance and traction. It's also to reduce rider fatigue.
Yeah.
And he's all, wow, I never thought of it that way. And I went, yeah. I said, so I said, did we all learn something this weekend? Did we have fun? And I said, did you feel like a family this weekend? Mm-hmm. And they were like, yeah. And I went, yeah. I said, because we are. I said, basically, the motorcycle community is just this huge family, and regardless of your color, your ethnicity, or whatever it is, we're one big family. We're all in it for the same thing, And I said, me as a coach, I said, I don't care about my paycheck. I mean, obviously, I want to make money. That's why I'm here. But for the most part, I said, I care about each and every person that comes through here, and I said, I want to ride with you one day. I don't want to read about you in a paper. I don't want to read about you being a statistic, you know. And they're like, they kind of look at me like, oh. And I said, so, and I typically end each class with you know, much love.
Well, you know,
And
Vince,
Much love.
much love.
Vince said it best. He says it's not the income, it's the outcome.
Yeah,
The
I
outcome,
love
yeah,
that
that's
phrase.
perfect.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that's
it's like-
simplicity. Yeah.
Well, like Larry kind of beats into his guys that learn to ride VC is this set up that family feel in the classroom, so that everyone feels comfortable. The more comfortable you can make the riders feel, the more easier it is to teach them. The more open minded they're going to be.
Yeah.
And it goes a long ways. I
That's
mean,
huge.
it's amazing.
Gotta have fun.
And what
I
I was
don't
going
mind.
to say with
Gotta make it fun.
well, when I took the ARC one with Adam and Mike Polero, so I took from what I learned from Adam as an instructor, and I used those tools into my instructing too, is to be a little more fun with it.
Yeah.
And what the magic that happened for me was I was acting more like Adam when I'm coaching, and the students were more relaxed, and I was getting more
Yeah.
out of them now.
That's awesome.
Instead of going, you didn't do it right, do it right," you know, like drill instructor DI. No, I was like, yeah, that was awesome. And then, you know, if we can just pick up a little bit more, okay, that was good. And then they're like, yeah. Like the end of 3, okay, exercise 3. All right. 2 lines, you stop them so they get off the bike. So really, this is their first chance of actually riding a motorcycle. And there's always a few. I like to just, you know. So who's never ridden a motorcycle after exercise 3? Debrief. And then who's never ridden a motorcycle before? I'm all, I can't say that anymore.
just
You
rode a
guys are actually
motorcycle.
riding
Yeah.
motorcycles. You had your feet on the pegs and you were riding motorcycles. And man, they like get like, oh, this is cool. And then they come back. Don't worry about it. 13 minutes, they're back to the bike. Okay, we're gonna take a 15-minute break. Let's be back to the bike.
Oh,
soon.
they're there and they're just salivating, licking windshields.
They are, yeah, they are ready to ride again.
Those are
And
my
now- and now, how much easier it is to train this group because now they're like, yeah. So then in
yeah.
day 2, at the end of the weekend, I say, "Well, did you guys learn anything?" Oh yeah. Learned a lot, right? Just in 2 days. Can you imagine if we could do this for 5 days, a month, a year? Where would you guys be there? And they look at each other like, "Oh my God, wow! If we could just train for a month, we could be like, wow." I said, "Well, this is where you are. Your foundation is now laid down, and then you go to the whole spiel. Okay, then the IRC, ARC, and they're yearning. Then they're like, yeah, well, I want to get back and do this. So
That's killer, man.
that's cool
That's
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah.
So that's what I learned from you and taking the ARC.
Yeah.
I've introduced that into my forte training, and it's like, or instructing and coaching, and it's like really paid dividends back. So what we talked about is learning different stuff from different instructors and how to.
Yeah, that's what
how
it's
to
all
make
about.
things
Like
go, so.
we learn things from each other. Like half of the stuff that I do, I've taken from other people, just because like, man, that's really effective. And
Yeah,
if,
right.
if we can make the community a little bit more together, even if it's like one little thing that we use from each other, then we're gonna make the program stronger. It's like.
Exactly, and that's why I like to go to different sites. You know, I teach for Learn to Ride. I teach for Ride Ride. I teach for SoCal Motorcycle Training, and I also teach for Motorcycle Training Services. So and also Cerritos. So I get myself out there and I learn.
Yeah.
You know,
You
and
slut.
I am.
Easy back there, Amsterdam.
But I
Turn on
just,
your red light.
you know, and to diversify yourself into different sites, and you can take things that someone else does, and
It makes me feel like a thief. I'm stealing tools from my toolbox.
That's good.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
It's all right. You're
But-
just tactically acquiring them.
That's
you know?
right.
right, and you're
Temporarily
adding.
reallocating.
And so I definitely want to make sure that I do work with instructors that have not taken they've done the IRC because that they needed to do that, but haven't taken the ARC 1, ARC 2, and I just want to say, look, you'd be so amazed at the how much you are going to step more forward. I mean, huge. You're not going to take you're going to slide your foot forward. You're going to take a huge step forward, and not only that, but when the IRC was there was a training going on, and there was a few instructors, so we had a little bit of feedback from or different ideas from different instructors, the way they taught things.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ARC 1, it was the same thing, but it was a few less.
Yeah.
But the ARC 2 is only with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're so smooth on everything. And I took a lot of that, and it's still the continuous learning thing, and just taking that, and I really appreciate that you do all these levels, and those of you that are out there and have not taken advanced courses, you really need to take them. It's not about saying, hey, you're not. We're not saying that you're not a good rider.
Right.
We're just saying, you know what? Take a big leap forward, because you can always become better.
I have a
so not
question.
only as a rider, but as instructors. So I'm also speaking. Not only am I speaking to the rider, our brother sister rider that's out there riding every single day, but I'm also talking to the instructors that I know that have not taken these higher levels. You gotta do it. It's so much fun. It's so awesome, and if you really get a chance, to have Adam as your instructor, I'm telling you, it is a hoot.
Well, I'll feel lucky to have whoever's out there.
Especially if you do a 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock stoppie in front of them.
That's good.
So
I would
Dave,
never do that on my motorcycle.
Dave Wood wants to know why are you so damn good?
Again, mentorship and practice, having people who could, give me the feedback that I needed to improve, and then having somebody that was willing to be honest. Because again, what I think I'm doing is always different than what I actually am. And then I think getting exposed to people who are really, 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 really good, like that blew my mind. So like, have you ever been through like the MSF's ARC?
Yeah.
Cool course. They've got this awesome thing that they do into it where you evaluate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 from like, what's your motorcycling skill level? So I remember when I went and I took it as a student, and I was like, I'm probably like a 7 or 8, right? This is back when I was like 10, 15 years ago, and I was like, I'm taking track schools, race schools, I'm probably like 7 or 8, right? And then now in hindsight, it's like, if I were to evaluate myself today, it's like, I'm a 4. I'm a 4.
Right.
There's so much that's out there, and you get to see like the beauty about motorcycling is we could spend the rest of our lives every minute devoting energy into practicing this stuff, and we'll never master it. Like we'll never get to the point where it's just like completely flawless, because we can always be more relaxed.
Yeah, Adam's so modest. He was doing the click read talk when I did the ARC. I'm like, that's just crazy. Like he almost like verbatim reads the script, and he's click read talking like, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, wow.
It's practice though.
I get exactly.
Lots of repetitions, man.
And Lee Parks has set up a curriculum that is just so. I mean, like I said, I've been teaching for 17 years, and as soon as TCT took over, I mean, my writing ability has just boom, it skyrocketed. And like you were saying, and we say at the end of range 2, are you a Jedi yet?
Nope.
No. and I use Anakin. I'm like, look, see, here's the thing. Now, Anakin always wanted to be a Jedi, but what did Obi-Wan say? You're not ready yet. He's seen potential in you, but you're not ready yet. And so when he decided to think, I am everything, what happened to him?
He killed all the younglings, Zig.
Oh, shit. Yeah, but nobody ever knows that answer.
But he went.
I might.
But he went to the dark side. And we don't want to go to the dark side.
Right. Yeah.
We want to be on the good side.
Yeah,
don't kill the younglings.
And that's when everything went bad for him. And so it's fun to use analogies like Star Wars, and I love that
they work so good.
They do.
Isn't the dark side where all the hookers are at?
No, that's behind the glass.
That's the red light district.
With the green door.
Red light district.
I don't know if it was the singer chick with the big horn things. She was actually pretty hot.
Yeah, think about stormtroopers. They don't turn their head. How's their accuracy?
Right.
Well, how many
That's
of them
why they
ran
kept
into the
hitting trees on those things.
Yeah.
I actually have a question.
Go for it.
So what is the difference between ARC 1, ARC 2? I mean, I did the ARC 1 and with you, and I dropped like 5 seconds off my lap times at Chuck Walker.
Oh
that's
man,
killer,
you're gonna
man.
love
it
the
was
ARC too.
fucking huge, and so I definitely want to keep going. So what is the difference?
So there's two different things that I think are really big differences. The ARC 1 is very physical skill intensive, and you're going to get more physical skills when you go through the ARC 2. We're going to cover speed up, shifting, and down. Yeah, your fancy bikes, they do all that already, but still learning some of the physics behind it makes it a little bit smoother and easier. But one of the biggest goals for the ARC 2 is to focus on not needing a method anymore. So we focus a lot on the mental portion, because if you think about like learning a task or anything that we do as humans, we develop a procedure. And we learn something by going through a procedure, and you go through the procedure so many times until you start getting confident with the procedure. But the whole purpose
daily, and then it becomes habit, routine.
But the whole point of that procedure in the first place is to accomplish whatever you're trying to do the first time without it, if that makes sense. So what we do a lot in the ARC 2 is, we'll teach you a couple new techniques, and then we will focus a lot on the mental side of saying, how can you do this in a way that's more efficient? With all of the advanced training we do, it's not whether or not you can ride around in a circle, because everybody can ride around in a circle, but how little energy can you use riding around in a circle?
Right.
We talk about it in the ARC 2, like we gave you the 10 steps to proper cornering. The goal is to make it so you're not thinking step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. The goal is to get to the point where it's just cornering, just going through turns effectively. Right. And from a physical skills perspective, I think the coolest thing at the ARC 2 is how deep we go into trail breaking. You get so much practice being able to change your line. Like in the ARC 1, we teach it in a straight line, very few barriers to learning, so it's great for learning it. And then we go through in the ARC 2 and we introduce you back into trail breaking and say, all right, now you're going to do it in the line selection exercise from ARC 1. So now you're doing line selection, but with trail breaking. Okay, good. Now you're good on that. Now we're going to do trail breaking and decreasing radius turns. Statistically, one of the most dangerous turns we go into. And then once you show you're good at that, we'll throw an obstacle in the middle of your turn, have your trail break around the obstacle, but still exit within 3 feet of an exit cone. So if you've gotten to the point where you can be that precise when it's tough and it's technical, tight diameters, low speed, when you go out on public roads on the street and you're riding responsibly, now it's like you have the world's biggest safety margin, because you've gotten to see how precise you can be with this stuff. So now if you need little changes, it becomes so much more effortless.
And when we did the exercise, I suffered during my ARC 2.
Well, that trash is hard, Zig.
It is. But what I did is for like the following 4 months I'd set the range up, I would like kick a couple cones out there on the other range, and like, okay, I can do this, and I started working on it, which is back to the practice thing. Where do you practice? In a parking lot, in a safe environment. You practice here, you hone your skills out in the real world. So you got to practice here. Cool. Get this to where you can get, okay, great. Okay, now let me practice in the real world situations. So now I'm okay. I'm good to go. But I loved that exercise. That was so cool, awesome.
Right?
Yeah, but like Adam said, you practice it everywhere you go.
Right.
Every time.
And you don't stop practicing, and that's one of the things that we stress to our students. Like, don't stop practicing, because every single time, and that's where I got.
It's a
that's where I
skill.
got my thing. Every time I do a debrief, I always say, "So now, how often can you practice that?" And I get the students say every time, because that's what Adam said every single time.
Yeah.
He said, "So now, when can you practice that?" All the time.
Why not?
Yeah, doing the slow ride
All
with
the
Vince,
time.
so you can do the slow ride practice all over the place.
Yeah, man, it's my goal. Every time I get on the bike, it's like, let's see if I can make it where I'm going without putting my feet down. I'm gonna try real hard.
Check this out. You know what was fun? Beth and I went to Chino Air Show. So Chino PD, they have a lot of motors. So they were actually in the whole facility inside on their motors. There's two motor officers, and I stopped and I told Beth, "Look at this," and I watched them, and we both watched them go by, idling, talking to each other, with one finger on the clutch, and they're like right hand. They were literally 2 inches from each other, and they're just chatting at idle. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do that. Oh, that was good. Oh, and I can. I'm like, all right, but a lot of you got to drag the rear brake, because I was like, oh, the brake lights are on. Okay, I picked up on that. Okay, one finger on the clutch, and they're just chatting. I'm like, yeah, just dragging the brake, and it's like, wow, I can idle my motorcycle with one finger on the clutch and dragging the brake, just barely moving, and it just like nothing to it. little things, so you can practice this stuff all the time. It's like,
So speaking of rear brake, so I took American Super Camp, and one of the instructors there was Jake Gagne. So
I've never heard of that one.
American Super Camp is phenomenal. It's essentially flat track training, so it will get you comfortable with the front and the rear of the bike sliding. It's a great
oh, you did
course.
that at industry, right?
I've done it at industry. I've taken it a couple times. It was a really fun class, really fun class. But you get to do some question and answers. So we were talking with Jake Gagne, and we're like, so rear brake use when you're racing, and he's like, well, let me put it to you this way. This is how important your rear brake is. I had one weekend where, granted we had a little bit of a parts issue, but I went through 11 rear brake, and I'm thinking, okay, pad, rotors.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So not talking just pad wear that's going on, but the rear brake is such a versatile tool if you're willing to invest into it. It's like the clutch. A lot of people think about the clutch as just a tool to get you going and shift gears, but from dirt biking off-road, if you're going up a hill, the clutch is a lifesaver. If you're going downhill, the clutch is a lifesaver. For low speed, the clutch has so many more settings than just in and out, right? So, it's cool seeing how much more you can get out of this stuff than a lot of times we're used to using. Like it's now my goal to see how quickly I can go through rear brakes, responsibly.
It's amazing how the rear brake can set you up for a corner. Much better than just trail braking. My name is not Mike, God damn it.
And you know how to use one apparently.
But no, yeah. It's amazing how you can set yourself up for a corner just by, using the rear brake more.
It's just a cool metaphor to think about. Have y'all ever met Helen Villamur? She's a awesome instructor, lives out in Indiana. She's a physicist. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life.
Cool.
Yeah, I think she was actually chiming in earlier. Yeah.
Helen's awesome. But she was explaining brake use, and if you think about using your front brake, you've got the center mass of the motorcycle moving forward, all that kinetic energy, inertia, right? And then you use the front brake, and now you're slowing down all that mass from the front. So it's kind of like you're almost hitting a brick wall. Does that make sense? That's what the physics is doing. When you use the rear brake, it's like you're throwing an anchor out the back. So it's kind of, you've got pulling motion coming from the back of the bike, pushing motion from the front, so it makes the whole chassis more stable. And I was like, I've never thought about it from that kind of a perspective.
Yeah, I don't think most human beings have.
Yeah, I was like, that's kind of a cool concept, right? Throwing an anchor out while you're and now you got both forces kind of like, rear brake.
Well, and you look at the way Josh Heron rides. Yes. Man, the dude, heavy dirt bike background, heavy on the rear brake. I mean, that guy is just amazing. Oh, wait.
Dude, you need a fluffer for this mic stand.
We got one. What is wrong with you guys?
That motherfucker stood up quick.
He likes you.
Oh my God.
I'm not used to pulling strings like that. You need to be careful.
Adam's already thinking, I'm coming back.
Yeah, this is a good experience.
Gonna run like hell.
But I do need to drive back down to Oceanside, so I need to get going soon.
Yes, actually, but you know what, Adam, I want to say, dude, thanks for coming in, brother.
It was an honor. Thank you for having me.
It's an honor having you in here. That's that's why you're our guest of honor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hope you choke when you say that, because that's some bullshit right there. You need to aim higher, Zig.
Oh, jeez. But Bianco was supposed to be here, but he ended up getting having to travel to Colorado.
Wow.
So he's a really busy bird. But he'll be in here. My goal is to get him and Lee. Well, at least Lee said, "Hey, yes."
He said, "Give him a date."
All right. So there it is. So when Lee comes in, I'm gonna have you come back in with Lee.
That'd be cool, man. I'd be honored.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
And it's definitely be to have the Godfather of Total Control.
Yeah, Lee Parks is Yoda. Yeah.
Yeah. He's. I'm telling you.
I'm not saying that because he's short. I hope he's not listening.
Well, we were at the PDW and we were up at lunch and I asked him. I says, "Hey, right here, because when you're on, because it's right above Big Willow." And I told him, I asked him, I says, "Hey, Lee, coming out of 4, going into 5, this is why I just really it just really jacks me up, because if you're on Big Willow, you're coming out of turn 3, you're going uphill.
The Omega.
All right, yeah, the Omega, exactly. And then you're coming downhill. So now I'm like, okay, going. I've tried wide, I've tried middle, I've tried and it's just way too tight.
Yeah.
And then you're
not a good
coming downhill.
experience.
Now you have a little more kinetic energy behind you, but then going exiting turn 5, there's this like little seam right there, and if you don't get your line right set up, before that, there's a seam, and you just get right into it, and I was like, how do I negotiate this? This is my nemesis on Big Willow. He goes, well, do this and do that and do this. And I'm like going, okay. And I did it, man. The heavens opened up, the lights and all the angels, and I'm like, oh, holy shit. And it's that simple. And that's a lot of the stuff, not only when we teach and we get the feedback, from when we do it when we go to QAV or when we attend the advanced courses. This is it. This is what we get, and it's just those eye opener things that we can actually take and give to the students and have them take it into their real world.
Just giving them that perspective, like we're locked into the worldview that we see and understand through our eyes. So it's like if you can help somebody see it a little bit more accurately, man, what a cool goal.
Exactly.
What a cool goal.
And also if say if you're listening or you're watching us right now and maybe you don't ride a motorcycle. We have a lot of people that don't ride motorcycles, but they love the show. But if you know somebody that rides, wouldn't it be a great Christmas gift or a birthday gift or something? You know what I mean? Say, hey, you know what? Here, I got you a gift. Take it and take a course.
Yeah, I like.
Hell yeah!
Last weekend I was into a party with it's called the Hog Pen, a bunch of Harley rider guys. So I got the whole, hey guys, can take the IRC and set it all up for you. Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, I got to do that. I got to do that. I'm like, if I had $1 for every time I heard that, I could put 50 people through a course.
At least.
So it's like,
Is that Lee calling?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think we
Hey,
should.
you know what? Have him call in. Have Lee call
Hi,
in.
Lee. Hey, I'm actually on the Zig Zone. Do you want to call in and we'll talk as a group? Whatever you want to talk about.
Whatever you want to talk about.
Open forum in here, man.
motorcycles.
Mostly motorcycles. Yeah.
And hookers.
Well, yeah, and Chris brought up hookers, so it's 2 of our favorite topics.
And microphone placement.
Yeah, they're both expensive fun. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think so. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. We don't need to know who's boarding. Yeah.
Would John Michael please come to gate 12?
Sounds wonderful. I hope you have a safe flight. Bye.
Bye, Lee.
Bye.
That's funny because during last week's show, I was in an airport listening in.
Nice. Reminds me of
So there
Kaiser
you are.
Sose.
There's
Speak of the devil
Godfather-
and he
the
shall
Godfather
appear.
himself, right? So good. I am going to give him a date.
That sounds like a
And
good time.
That is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I set it up. I told him second Monday every month. So
It's
Put it
okay.
together.
Good. Then I'll send him a message. Hey, we are going to do. I'll send him a text later. Hey, there you go. We are going to be Bike Rally, second Monday each month.
Woo,
It's open.
maybe-
You're in.
Maybe next month because
That's what I'm saying,
August
next
starts
month.
getting busy with
PDW stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll try and get him in here early.
July
Hey, you
15th.
know you got to have scotch for Lee.
Okay,
He
we
does
can
like
do that.
Scotch.
Okay. I got you
I can
covered
take
on the
care of
scotch.
that, and I'll sit on the couch.
Oh,
so
there you go.
He can have
Yeah.
a microphone.
Because
That would
yeah.
be
American
July.
Mike has some good
American
scotch.
Mike. those
Yeah.
good.
Hey,
Scotch.
so
I'd
that would
bring
be-
some, but in fear of being called pedestrian again.
So, you know what? It's fun being pedestrian around Lee sometimes. You know how they do the wine tastings and liquor tastings after the track events and stuff?
Right.
Yeah, so I won the wine tasting one time. First off, I was frustrated we were doing wine tasting. I was like, don't worry, I'll bring my Gilmore Girls DVD. Right? Like, what kind of... Yeah, there's a whole bunch of motorcyclists, and we're drinking red wine and dark chocolate.
Right.
No, thank you. So I brought some Stella Rosa box wine, and it kicked everything else's ass in one.
No way.
Blind taste test. Yeah, it turns out if you're spending more than $6.99 for a box of wine, you're overspending.
baby.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
that
gosh.
would be July 8th. It'll be the next shoe.
Okay, so July 8th. So there you go.
There you go, Lee.
July 8th.
No, yeah.
That'll be the next one.
I'll send him a text and send him a message.
America Mike can lead you to some
Yes.
fucking good wine.
And yeah, Lee, American Mike will set you up with some good scotch.
Yeah, I like wine just because I'm Italian, so it's kind of historical family stuff. So
That's because you're gay.
good.
But you know,
it's all right.
It gets you drunk faster than beer.
We're in the show now. We're beyond reason. Now we're just insulting.
but anyways, everybody, thanks for chiming in. It's the bike rally is the best Zig Zone episode. So we appreciate everyone's support. We appreciate our sponsors, Ride Right, Learn to Ride VC, and SoCal Motorcycle Training. So make sure get out there, get yourself trained. If you are already riding, get yourself some advanced courses, and you get to have a good time.
Yeah, worst case scenario, you'll have some fun.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
How bad is that?
That sounds terrible. It's not like going to the DMV. We promise. All right. Yeah. When people show up for motorcycle training, it's because you want to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be totalcontroltraining.net. Find a location nearest you.
And Adam,
Yes.
thanks again for showing up.
Dude, I had a blast. Thanks for
It
having
was
me.
So
dude.
awesome,
Yeah.
dude. I love it. I'm gonna get Dave Bianco in here. We got Lee Parks coming in, so he already set up the gauntlet. We are gonna put him inside it. Good job, Fraser.
Yeah.
So, anyways, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all our sponsors, and you know what? Get out there, ride safe, and always remember 360 degrees. Right? You have mirrors on your motorcycle. You paid for them, unlike people in their cars. And thank God you're not able to text and ride.
Seen it.
So,
Me too.
have you really?
Do not text and write. And I have seen it.
Have you really?
Fucking
Oh
seen
my
it.
God.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We live in a messed up world, y'all. It's crazy out there.
First ride I took with you, that guy's out there taking pictures while he's riding.
Seems safe.
Oh,
Oh,
on his phone.
Sounds legit.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Jordy.
Oh no, it wasn't me.
Dude, this show could literally go all night. I mean,
I know,
we could have a 24-hour marathon
Yeah,
bike
easily.
rally.
Next
easy.
time I come
Easily.
here, I'm going to budget more time. That's for sure.
Okay, very
I need a
good.
place to crash overnight.
Maybe, yeah, I'll
you
get
can
a
stay at my
motel
house.
or something. That way we can zig
Listen, you can stay at my house. I got an
One time we went to 11 o'clock at night.
Mike and I live close. We both have plenty of room.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
three of us
Well, it's a
live
deal
close.
next
And
time.
he's
The-
got a wife
the-
whose feet you could touch.
You haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my
Three
wife
places
wants
you
me
can
to
stay,
Foot
brother.
position. Proper foot position.
And I got all the
it's
red
easy.
wine.
Foundation.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Because we haven't even covered 1/100th of what I
Yes,
wanted to
head,
cover tonight.
shoulder.
Well,
So-
We never
sounds like
knew.
we got plenty of
We
opportunity for
never
next
knew.
time.
All right, very good. Well,
Zig,
thanks.
do we ever cover what we want to cover? No.
No,
We
we
Wait,
go
don't.
wait,
off
no.
task so easily.
But anyways, everybody,
Put it in your mouth,
make
Chris
sure when you
Jesus.
get out there, ride safe and at GAT.
Yes.
All the gear, all the
the
time. Keep it shiny side up. We love you guys. Thanks for listening to Zig
Peace
Zone. We're
out.
out of here.
Mahalo.
Those gloves, Ziggy? Ziggy, finally bring the gloves? You brought it in there?